have a task ahead of them. Not quite ahead of the eight ball. Still have a deficit of 129 runs, and they've already lost the wickets. And it was the big man, Kusal Pereira, there. So looks like they're going to need to. The others are going to have to step up in the runs department, and Thirimani and Kunaratna are also going to be going in. Kunaratna on 11, and Thirimani on 4. And also, I just want to ask, as if you were in the Sri Lankan changing room, what's the type of headspace you're getting into to take on these innings? What are the mantras that you're saying to yourself to just keep yourself in the game?
Geez, dude, I don't know. I think that's one of the reasons why I'm not a cricket coach or and just a cricket fan. I would say they just need to play for time, not look at the scoreboard. Just try and bat through. I've heard some professional players talk about, small goals. Set yourself small goals, and it's something that I use in my job as well. So get through the next 20 minutes, and then once you've done that, get through another 20 minutes, and then once you've done that, see if you can make it to drinks, and then another half an hour, and then before you know it, it's close of play, or there might be some showers coming through. There's a 50% chance of rain here, so I think they should just keep their goals nice and small. Don't put too much pressure on yourself. Don't look at the 129 run deficit. Just try and give a good account of yourself and show what you can do. I think that would be my mantra for them.
Awesome. No, 100%. So also, do you mind doing tweets and I'll do ball by ball? Because normally we do it the other way. So
yes.
I feel like switching it up.
Go for it. Yes, awesome. Go for it. I've got the tweets here. So before we wait for the play to start, looks like the players are ready to go. So you just interrupt me when you've got some play there by you. I'm also on the live stream. Josie Oak says, I wouldn't write this game off yet. If Sri Lanka bat like they can and get to 300, then 150 on a wearing pitch will not be easy. Indeed.
And Heinrich Nokia into the attack here. And this one just passing the left-hander into Quinton de Kock's hands.
Okay, cool. So that tweet by Josie Oak, I agree with. They still have something to play for. It's a tough situation for Sri Lanka, but they can do something here if they show application.
100%.
And looking at the field, looks like 5 slips in for Heinrich Nortje as he's bowling to Thirimani, who's a left-hander.
Coming over the wickets of this one into Quinton de Kock's hands for no run.
I like this line by Nortje, coming across the left-hander over the wicket, right-handed bowler to the left-hander. Let me just check the scorecard here. Both left-handers at the crease, Lahiru Thirimani and Dimuth Karunaratne. Thirimani on 4 of 24 and Karunaratne on 11 of 26. So the scoring rate is of no consequence at the moment for Sri Lanka. Nortje comes around the wicket to Thirimani.
And this one into Quinton de Kock's hands, nice and easy. This one is just jagging to the right there and going a bit out of the line.
Yeah, good movement off the pitch there. And I think Nortje starting wide there, which is also not a bad idea. I would imagine that he also would have had a look at his performance both at Centurion Park and in the first innings. Although he took 6 wickets, there's certainly room for improvement in terms of his consistency. So let's see if he can...
definitely wants to bowl this one into the left-hander, but this one pitched very short and past the batsman's head all the way to Quinton de Kock. Pitching it a lot short. I think he's trying to get the angle to bowl into the left-hander, either bowling towards the body or hoping for some for it to nip off the pitch and then just past the bat. Yeah. So he's still struggling to find that line that forces the batsman to play, but it's still early days here.
Yeah, so he's got a square leg on the boundary, fine leg on the boundary. mid off and mid on, and then the rest of the guys in the slips.
And this one just wide, quite wide. Firmani left this one very easily, and that one into Quinton de Kock's hands. Sri Lanka sitting on 16 for 1, and this is after tea here on the second day, the third session of the second day. We're hoping Heinrich Lokia, as you said, really picks up where he left off. Go for the 10 for here, get 10 in the game after that brilliant performance in the first innings. He also, post-match, as he comes into Tirumani, this one right in the line, and this one driven very square for a boundary. It looks like very, very square indeed. It looks past the point region, backward point region, but it was a drive. Very good shots. But as I was saying, Nokia said yesterday, talking about, or giving the credit rather, to Vian Mulder, and we're just seeing replays of the shot here, just opened the face of the bat, and that's why it went so square. But yeah, no, he definitely credited Vian Mulder with the change of complexion of the game after the 3 wickets he took yesterday. So hopefully we're looking for someone to step up and just change the complexion, really dig into the Sri Lankan attack.
Yeah, so I'd say that if I were Nokia, I wouldn't be too disappointed with that 4. That's exactly what you want the batsman to do. You want the batsman to drive. There's lots of wide open spaces in the field.
Vian Mulder comes into the attack from the corner drive end, no, from the golf course end rather, and he's going to Karuna Ratne, and this one was blocked. He's coming from over the wickets for no run.
Indeed. And so still the full slip cordon, even for Mulder. So you want to put the ball there for the drive and hope for some movement to get the edge.
And this one pitched just over the stumps, and Karunaratne plays this to mid-wicket for no run.
They've got people now there on the mid-wicket region to allow Vian Mulder some leeway if he's going for the off-stump line and off-stump and middle stump line. But if he's going to go onto leg, then that's going to be an easy put away for Karunaratne. He looks quite focused as well. Mulder yet to concede a run. They've got mid-off, mid-on point.
And this one very straight, just played to mid-wicket for no run again. Consistent line and length from Vian Mulder here. So it's a battle. It's a battle of focusing, and it's about concentration and seeing who's going to break. This is Test cricket. We're not looking at batsmen just playing all liberally here. It's quite a battle, a war of attrition.
Yes, and it's up to Sri Lanka now to set things up for them in this game. Try and bat through the rest of this session.
And this one pitched just on top of off stump, and Karunaratne plays the square just behind square, and he's going to get himself 2 runs there. Sri Lanka sitting on 21 for 1.
They took, let's see, what was that? That was a 2. Score is 22 for 1. They trail by 123. Karunaratne moves on to 13 or 30.
So, Otto, as a bowler, just put your cricketing cap on, see if you could tell me what you think as Vian Mulder comes in here. This one bowled very straight and played on the onside. That's definitely going for down the mid-wicket region. A very good shot by Karunaratne. That one just a little bit too straight and a little bit too short. A very comfortable off-the-hip shot from Karunaratne, and that was played for 4.
Yep. Just a little bit more on the off stump, please, Vian. He's been really good so far in the series. Made the most of his opportunity, and looks like him and Dwayne Pretorius will be fighting for the all-rounder spot in the South African team. Wouldn't it be great if we've got a decent all-rounder again?
100%. I was literally thinking about Petrokwa has really established himself in the limited over space, and I realized that we lack that in the tests, and it's good to see that people are stepping up, showing that we could fill the position very nicely, and that we don't have to pine for the likes of Vernon Philander in that position. That's that gap. We don't have to pine for someone for too long.
Yep, that last one by Mulder was a much better line, pitching on middle and off and going across the left-hander into Quinton de Kock's hands for no run.
And we just have the stats of the top scorers of the series here on the screen. Dean Algar, Faf du Plessis on 222 and 207 respectively, followed by Pereira, Chandamal, and Hasarangna on 141. They took off the thing as Vian Mulder comes from around the wicket. It's Heinrich Nortje was the end of the over around the wicket, and that into de Kock's hand for no run.
26 for 1. Teremane on 8 off 28. Karunaratne on 17 off 32. And Nortje is into his 6th over and he's only conceded 10 runs so far. What was that delivery like that bowled Kusal Pereira? Did you see it?
Oh, no, unfortunately, I wasn't watching at the time.
No,
but
I missed it as well.
Oof, and this one flashed just outside the off stump there.
Yes.
And that one into Quinton de Kock's hands comfortably. That's the line and length we're looking for. It's a bit short, but at least the batsman is playing. But as I was mentioning with the runs, the top run scorers, Dean Algar and Faf du Plessis, the senior players stepping up here in the batting order. And that's what we want to see. You know, you don't want the big players need to be getting the big runs. And we'd like to see the likes of Quinton de Kock there as well, but unfortunately, it didn't come off for him. But Heinrich Nortje comes in. It's the attack, and this one driven down the ground through the covers, and that one will go for 4 from the middle of the bats. His driving has been looking fantastic. Jeepers creepers. He must have got his license really early because these drives are impeccable.
Yep, 147 kph there from Heinrich Nortje, and just sweetly timed. As we watch the replays here, on the front foot through the extra cover region, nobody there on the boundary because they are inviting the drives, but that's not enough movement there off the pitch by Heinrich Nortje.
And this one a lot close to the stumps, and this one blocked into the mid-wicket region for no run. Into the cover region for no run.
Now that last one was just the one that got driven was too full and a bit too wide, so nice half volley for Teremane to jump all over that. So with the fuller ball, there's no chance for the ball to move anywhere off the pitch. That length was better from Nortje, almost on the same line, just a bit tighter on the off stump. So let's see if he can keep it there.
And this one basically has the same line, but this one just bounces all the way to the keeper as Thirman ducks this one.
Now, so Kusal Pereira is done for the series. He's not going to get another chance to move into the top run scorers there that we saw, that list for the series. It's just a pity with the position that South Africa was in that we couldn't get one of our middle order guys in there as well. But that's the way it goes in cricket. 1 ball left in Nortje's 6th over. 30 for 1 is the score.
Coming from around the wickets, and this one ducked into the keeper's hand. South Africa sitting on 30 for 1 after Nortje's over. Nortje has figures of 0 for 14. Look at that. So we're just looking at replays of Vian Mulder. Fantastic how the ball just moved in. We're not seeing as much movement now. We're getting a bit of nip from the surface, but the ball isn't moving through the air at a menacing rate at all, or in a menacing way, rather. Ooh.
Yeah, the sun is out at the Wanderers, and as we said before, during the course of today, this is day 2 and day 3 at the Wanderers. Probably the best conditions for batting that you'll find here on the Highveld in Johannesburg and Pretoria as well. Day 2 and 3, really nice to bat on this wicket, and so Sri Lanka wouldn't have thought before the start of the match and even this morning that they would be batting on day 2, but here we are.
And Vian Mulder into the attack here, and this one blocked as it's bowled right on the stumps.
Yeah, he's on to Karunaratne. 17 off 33 is Karunaratne. That was the the same line that he bowled the last ball of the last over that he bowled. So he's trying to get the ball to come pitch on middle and off stump and move across the left-hander. Let's see what he does with this one. If he can get some movement through the air at all, then give it a chance to move off the pitch.
So also quickly tell me.
Yes.
You're not quite the cricket player, but what got you into cricket? What made you so enthusiastic, just for interest's sake?
Well, I obviously played at school, and played during break times with my friends and that. And just loved the game. I like the stats and the figures and stuff as well, and just the
bowls this one. Sorry, also this one bowled just outside on fourth stump, but played to the onside to mid wicket for no run. Sorry, continue.
Yeah, and then when I was growing up, it would be a big treat for me to go to the ground and go and watch the players play. Always loved to watch the game.
Just see that a
TV.
no ball has been called. Sorry about that. Also, no ball been called.
Yeah, I see it.
Looking at the replay, that was well. Oh, nothing behind the line, unfortunately, and we have the ball being rebowled. This one left into Quinton de Kock's hands. Please continue. A treat going to the grounds.
Yeah, running around collecting autographs, and I've always enjoyed just the backyard cricket, and we had cricket nets in the primary school where I went to, that was on the playground, so we were able to bowl to each other and play in the nets. So we spent hours, me and my friends, just bowling to each other in the nets. It was always fun.
Yeah, Mulder bowls this one, and it's driven on the back foot to cover for one run, and they just jogged through for that one. Tirman on strike.
And then,
now.
Of course, as my friends went to university and leaving school, as a young adult, I would enjoy having a proper party with my friends while we watch the cricket, throwing things at the TV and jumping into the pool for the second story when there's a wicket and things like that. So that's also part of the fun.
Cricket madness! You went mad for cricket as Björn pulls this one a bit wide into Quinton de Kock's hands for no run there. No, you really went pretty mad for cricket. That's not a very conventional story at all. But sounds like a draw, actually.
Yes, it was. So my mom's house is built like on a hillside.
Yeah.
So the living room windows, if you climb out the windows, there's a windowsill, and then you can jump from there 2 stories down into the swimming pool. So whenever we lost a wicket, we would do that.
You jump into the pool. And Björn Mulder ends his over with a block there by Tirman, and Sri Lanka sitting on 32 for 1 at the moment. But sounds like you had really wild times just watching the cricket. But primary school cricket, that's something I really relate to with. I went to school just right by Supersport Park. Eventually, when I played first team, we got to actually get our kit there. We just took a walk. It was a team retreat to get our uniform. We walked to Supersport Park, and it was pretty magical. I won't lie. It was breathtaking, and ever since then, I always enjoyed cricket, but I couldn't really go very far. Number one, because I just didn't have the skill or the discipline, and number
Same
two,
here.
Guilty, hey. And hey, batting is expensive. Einrich Nokia into the attack, and this one just driven, but the bat just turned in Tirman's hands, and that one went to a deep square leg for 1 run. Sri Lanka sitting on 33 for 1. But once the cricket bug bites, it bites hard. All of a sudden you're reciting stats. You're looking at how the ball moves. You're like, oh, look at this guy, look at that guy.
Yeah, and I thought I was quite the informed cricket fan until I started doing the commentary here on Guerrilla Cricket South Africa, and that put me in my place for sure.
Right.
We've got a tweet in here. by AB Mola in response to AB Mola's tweet saying, I reckon the lead will be around 280 by close of play today. Ryan Fernandez said that tweet did not age well.
And Nokia bowls this one towards the stumps.
Oh,
Driven on the onside, but great fielding by Mulder there at mid-wicket. Turns a boundary into literally just a single. Saves 3 runs there, and Sri Lanka sitting on 34 for 1.
And they trail by 111. And so,
So we
if
have a
you're a
Nelson
superstitious Sri Lanka fan, that's your cue to get your feet off the ground. So thanks for that tweet, Ryan Fernandez. And then AB replying and just saying, bro, what can I say?
Tears, bro, tears. This one, a bouncer as Nokia comes from over the wicket now. And yeah, Quinton de Kock has to leap to catch that ball. So a short length here.
So he's going with the short length. That means I would expect him to have a very accurate full and straight ball, or a good length ball, just short of a good length, maybe enticing a drive after having the batsman pegged back in the crease for a few deliveries. So that's what it looks like to me, what the plan is here from Nokia. Next ball.
Oh, so this one bowled into the stumps and blocked for no run. I was just
so following up those 2 short balls with the one that targets the stumps and pitching on middle. Yeah, and would have gone past off stump, but forcing the shot there, and the batsman not coming forward to that ball. So good signs there for Nokia. 34 for 1.
And this one pitched in a lot shorter, and this one spanked on the onside for 4 runs. That was a very controlled shot. Really
excellent pull shot. Yeah, nice pull shot there by Karunaratne from outside the off stump. The ball coming across him, but he meets it on the top of the bounce, and as you say, spanked it through the onside for mid-wicket boundary. Good
Bad
shot
ball.
there.
Got the treatment. It
just
Nokia was probably
not short enough.
Hoping for it to get big on him, but it didn't. It just ended up being in the slots. And just boom to the boundary. Fantastic. Oh, it looks good.
Yeah, nice to watch. These 2 look unflustered for Sri Lanka.
Nokia coming from over the wicket now, and this one towards the pads, clipped off the pads for 4 runs. And Nokia's over ends very expensively. Nokia sitting on 24, 10 off the over, in fact. Yeah, he's
screaming into his hat. He is screaming into his hat. So I would say that's a good sign to see that he knows that he didn't do as well as he could there with the last 2 deliveries. He's getting the speed up, but just straying onto the pads there. I think he might have wanted that one to go slightly more across the left-hander. Instead, it was an easy put away for Karunaratne off his pads to the deep mid-wicket boundary. 42 for 1 now. Sri Lanka trail by 103. And we see Nokia's average speed is 141 k's an hour, 5 k's an hour average speed higher, 4.1 k's an hour faster than Chamira.
The boy moves.
Yeah. So I can also tell you after this ball,
as Björn Mulder just bowls this one into Quinton de Kock's hands.
The other thing that really got me into cricket was, of course, India's tour to South Africa in 1992. I think I was 12 years old, and I was still in primary school, in my final year of primary school. So that was a huge deal, because obviously we hadn't had overseas players coming to South Africa at all. So growing up, I was only able to watch interprovincial cricket, and so that was very exciting.
This one, a big appeal as it hits the pads, but that one was looking like it was going down leg. Maria Rasmus not interested at all.
Yeah, pitched outside leg. Definitely pitched outside leg. The DRS timer is running, but it looks like Quinton is telling the guys that he's not going to review this, and wisely so. Nice shape there through the air by Mulder. Yes. That one definitely tailed in towards the left-hander. If it started that line, maybe that was why he was so enthusiastic about the appeal. And you spotted that well, Chepo. That was moving enough to go down leg. You're right.
Yeah,
Oh,
this
no.
one going very far wide. Quinton de Kock has to lunge to his left to fetch this one, not troubling
Yeah.
the batsman at all. And the
Yeah.
consistency that we've been raving about with Jan Mulder's, it's lacking here. A few of these balls just they look like they're
Yeah,
slipping out the hands,
just
going very far wide.
almost in the right spot. Tiramane is on 13 of 39, so he's doing a nice patient job here for his country. They've got fine leg, mid wicket, mid on. As
And this one bowled a little bit close to the stumps, but for no run.
Yeah, not interested in that at all. Tiramane is not going to chase the wide ones from Vian Mulder, it seems. But good signs for Mulder in terms of a bit of shape through the air with the new ball. That's encouraging. So I remember I was actually going through my tidying up my office the other day, and I found the sticker book from that India tour. You know, so I've still got
Oh,
that.
is it like those?
You know,
I think they're called
yeah,
panini
collect
stickers
them
or something.
all. Yeah, with the players' stickers that you
And
could.
this one driven on the
Mm,
onside, a fantastic on drive by Thurman here. Shoof, the form, the shape, it was incredible.
Yeah,
Wow, just
Vian Mulder diving to the floor trying to stop that ball, but it was already past him when he hit the ground. Quality shot by Tiramane. The line of the right arm over the wicket, pitching
oh,
on middle, and he just sent it centimeters left of Vian Mulder, uh,
his
just a little
outstretched
bit
hand.
closer to him, and he could have had a chance there, but there was no
Oh
chance
no,
there.
but
The ball had
that
already
was
passed him.
too that
Just
was
a
too
quality
quick.
shot. Yeah, quality shot there by
This one,
Tiramane.
this one, just outside that fifth stump region. Thurman
That's where
leaves
he
this
needs to
one.
bowl.
Mulder,
Yeah.
after 4 overs, is on 0 for 12, and the deficit is now 99. And the Sri Lankans have been getting four balls in every over. They've to the bowling that it's unfortunate to see. We're looking for a little bit more line length, a little bit more consistency, but maybe a bowling change is in order. Or give them an over or two, maybe they'll strike, but it's not looking like it's not looking very promising, rather.
Well, in terms of taking a wicket, you mean, for South Africa?
Yes.
No, they're not looking dangerous at all at the moment. The two Sri Lankan batsmen look really comfortable at the crease. They had a nice tea break, and they managed to just get through this first half hour. So tick that box for them. Luto Sipamla is now going to bowl his first delivery, is it, of this innings?
Yes,
He
it is
hasn't
his first
been
into the attack.
That's right. So hopefully he can make something happen here for South Africa. Um, not too bad by Mulder and Ngidi, and then Nortje just letting it slip there in the last few deliveries of his last over.
And Sapalma into the attack from around the wickets. And this one blocked by Karunaratne, sitting on 27 or 43. Sri Lanka also on 46 for 1 and trailing by 99. Now, it's good that we see a bowling change. They just didn't seem to be hitting their lengths as consistently as they wanted to. Nokia wasn't looking very in the zone. And there were just too many four balls. I mean, how are you getting punished for four twice in an over? That's not what you expect in Test cricket. So we're looking for a little bit more discipline and a little bit
Yeah, no,
more. Yeah,
if you're not going to, like Mukaya Ntini said, I think it was during the lunch break, I heard him speak, and he said that on this wicket, if you're not taking wickets, you can't leak runs. And so that's, I thought, was good advice as well.
exactly as this one just kept low, past the stumps and kept low from a short length and bounced just before it got to Quinton de Kock.
So Luto Sipamla's lines are looking good as he's bowling around the wicket to the left-handers. Scrambled seam there could have been what caused the variable bounce, along with maybe something in the wicket. Yeah, it looks like it, because as the ball bounced, you could see the seam was, sort of the seam went underneath the ball, so it looked like it hit the seam there and bounced low. So good work there from from Sipamla, keeping the line tight. So I like that. I like to see that. He's only got 2
Ooh,
slips
the
in.
same line here. Ooh, ooh, ooh.
Ooh, ooh, ooh. Yeah, that one moved after it passed the bat.
Just jagged out there.
Yeah, just a little less
Ooh.
movement there, Luto, please, man. As we see a tweet in from Pirate Bacha. He says, I see things are not going so well for Sri Lanka's next opponents as they've got positive COVID diagnosis for Moeen Ali. We're looking at a replay here of that ball that moved through the air after it beat the outside edge of the bat. Good ball by
Looks like
Sipamla.
the bowling change really looking good. But give us this tweet. It's just in Moeen Ali has and this one driven right past
Oh,
Pamela.
no.
A chance that was let slip, driven down
Oh,
the
and he's got
ground.
his Sipamla has his head in his hands, standing in the middle of the wicket. That was a chance. It was difficult in his follow through, but it was a nice lobbed ball, good
Oh,
drive, but it was
oh,
within his reach. Oh, he just went inside the line of the ball, just couldn't get himself to stick the mitt out and get it into his palm. It must have just clipped his fingers almost.
yeah. His elbow was into his body, so it wasn't a very comfortable distance away. Like if
yeah,
you were a goalkeeper, that's one of the most difficult places to really get. And this one pitched a bit short, played to the onside for no run. But Pamela, this bowling change looking really good, looking very promising. The change of bowlers, just that routine. Now the Sri Lankans have lost that routine and that consistency. But as we're reading from this tweet, sorry, Otto, continue.
Yep, Moeen Ali has tested positive. He's going to be in isolation for 10 days. And then Chris Wokes has been identified as a possible close contact and will self-isolate, subject to further testing. So good luck to both of them. I hope they get well soon. And for Wokes' sake, that he tests negative.
And this
Next
one
was Sipamla.
pitched in and played square of the wicket on edge, a very thick edge.
Thick edge,
all
yeah.
the way down to backward square leg, a deep backward square leg for 1 run.
Yeah, so good signs for Sipamla. He's looking tidy, except for that the on drive there, or the off drive that he almost caught. It was a tidy over to start with in terms of his line and length execution. I'm happy with that so far, I would say. If I were his coach or his, I would probably be a data analyst if I had any position in the national team.
The guy behind crunching the numbers.
Crunching the numbers, yes, that will be me.
John Mulder into the attack.
Mulder continues. Yeah.
Into Quinton de Kock's hands for no run. But crunching the numbers is very important.
Yeah, it's becoming more and more important with all this data that they're collecting off the cricket field. In terms of also the players' movements, they've got those same movement trackers that they use for the rugby players.
That's crazy.
That tells you how far they run, how far they walk, how far they jog, and all of that stuff.
Vian Mulder, and this one on the stumps and blocked for no run. And we just see second slip, just practicing diving for those catches. That's what we like to see. Prepare yourself for any possibility. That's what it takes to be in the slip cordon. I'm just remembering now my cricketing days. So I wasn't a very good batsman or bowler, but I just got into the team because no one wanted to keep. And I was like, I'll keep, sure. And then just end up loving it, talking to the batsman, talking absolute nonsense. Vian Mulder into attack here, blocked for no run. Yeah, I always just enjoyed talking to the batsman, just talking nonsense. Like telling them about I have some hectic math homework to do today, my man. Just trying to get him off his game. Because if you throw him off with equations, maybe something could happen, So.
51 for 1 is the score, and this is also the 50 partnership, of course. Vian Mulder is now bowling to 3 slips. He's got a point. extra cover for the left-hander, mid-off, mid-on, and mid-wicket, deeper mid-wicket or wider mid-wicket.
As he comes from around, from over the wickets. And this one just chipped into the square leg region for 4 runs. Looking very comfortable is Karunaratne, sitting pretty on 36 at the moment, just putting the bad balls away. Just
Yeah, another nice one, shaping through the air. Maybe the movement through the air might be surprising Mulder, and it might be a case where if you're bowling the ball on off stump line or just fourth stump line, it does nothing, and as soon as you start bowling straighter, it starts to move. I've heard people talk about that as well.
This one just into Quinton de Kock's hands, no run.
Yeah, so my situation was very similar, Chepo. I was one of those guys who would go to every practice for the cricket team and then end up scoring the game. So never quite got picked.
Didn't your school have like a scorer? We had a scorer that always came with us, and it was always a girl. Or just look at the 50 partnership here, 54 runs as Rian Mulder comes from over the wicket. This one just clipped to the leg side. Just something, and it's just for a single. They looked like they were going for two, but no need. I'm just thinking with Rian Mulder, he might not be used to bowling to the left-handers, because as you can see, if it were a right-hander, it'd be shaping away and he'd be activating that slip cordon, but not so much here. He's not getting that shape in the opposite direction, if you catch my drift.
Yeah, the shape that we've seen has been coming into the left-hander.
Exactly.
So yeah, you're exactly right. That's why he was, he would have been more effective with that shape against the right-handers. But he's got to learn to control that swing. He obviously can make the ball talk a little bit through the air, so he needs to work on that. And it's good lessons learned here for Rian Mulder, and I think he can only improve.
Now we're on the opposite end as Sapamla comes in. This one driven to mid-on for no run. And we're just seeing Rian Mulder shake his head here. He's trying something. There's something that he's trying, and it's not coming off the way he wants it to.
Oh, and it looks like they're showing he's been warned for running on the danger area with one foot there on the danger area. He's had the first warning from Mare Erasmus. Please keep off the grass there, son. 56 for 1 is the score. Sri Lanka trail by 89. Karunaratne faces Sipamla 37.
And this one, as Sapamla comes from over the wicket. Whoa! Sure! Came from around the wicket.
Kept honest there.
It looked like he was sneaking for a run. And a shy at the stumps by Temba Bavuma. There's venom in his eyes, boy. Look at him. Smiling at the batsman. That's what we like to see. Don't get comfortable.
Stay in your lane. Stay in your lane, but yeah.
It's my house here. Ooh, you can't see me. I'm a cat.
That could be something that sparks some energy here for the South African bowlers as well. You know, that's something that's also nice about cricket. Is a moment like that can just activate a few adrenaline glands for the players and just get the people on the field a little bit more excited than they should be.
Literally, I'm hyped here from my own chair, and this one a lot close to the stumps. Oh, not the one. A good leave in the end, but very
let's give him that. Yeah, and Sapamla hitting 140 kph, 87 miles an hour. Sri Lanka on 56 for 1 still. I like the look of Sapamla here. He's definitely showing us what his potential is, and he's doing well in terms of his execution. As I said, the boundary that was scored was almost into his hands. So let's see what he can do now around the wicket.
Neat and tidy around the wicket. This one just getting a bit of bounce, but played down to the mid-on region for no run. It's definitely keeping his batsmen honest, as you said. What Temba Bavuma was doing. You can't be playing shots willy-nilly. And what I like to see is that he's doing the same thing consistently. What we saw from Nokia and Mulder is that they kept going over, around. Surely that mess up with lines, mess up with lengths. They're trying, they're fishing for something, but they're not getting it on point.
Yep, Sipamla coming in again around the wicket to Karunaratne on 37.
And this one driven straight back to him. A big bounce for no run.
For no run. Yep, he's got the slips in. He's got the man at fine leg on the boundary. I don't think either of these two will be caught at fine leg, hooking the ball at fine leg. One more ball to go for a maiden over here for Sipamla. So nice work by him so far, bowling at the Sri Lankan captain. Karunaratne is on 37 or 59. Tiramane is on 17 or 42. Sri Lanka 56 for 1, trailed by 89. And as we watch the next delivery by Sipamla.
And this one, almost a half volley, but driven very softly to the mid-on region. A great over here. Was it a maiden? Let me see. Was it a maiden?
That one driven to mid-off, maiden over. The second over by Sipamla. That will definitely give him a little bit of confidence. Nice control. Good to see. Let's keep it up. Come on, Proteas. Hashtag Protea Fire. Please do tweet us if you're listening. Let us know where in the world you are and what you're doing at Gorilla SA, at GUERILLASA. Make sure you follow us on YouTube. You can watch us sit and talk here on YouTube live at the moment. But more importantly, on the YouTube channel, there's some quality podcasts available.
100% as Wiaan Mulder continues his spell from around the wickets. It's looking a lot better. Still getting that movement very far to the left hand. Quinton de Kock literally has to go to the left hand side, the leg side rather, to pick this up.
Yeah, it's coming into the left-hander now. I think this is good by Mulder. If he's getting that movement for the left-hander coming from off to onside, as the left-hander looks at it, this is better to come around the wicket.
Oh, and this one on the pads, clipped just behind square for a single. Actually, that's
a bit too straight
more
there.
Of a fine leg, a square fine leg, yes. A bit too straight.
A bit too straight, but just a little bit too straight. He's going for the gate there between bat and pad. And I think if he can get that going, just on the pitching on fourth stump and coming in towards middle and off, or maybe trying to hit middle and off, top of off, he could do something here.
Oh, this one on the fourth stump, just on top of the stump there. And I want a much better ball, much better line. Blocked for no run.
That's it. Karunaratne defends that into the offside for no run. That's the line I'd like to see. If he's coming around the wicket, keep it tight on that off stump. Make the batsman play, all of those cliches. He's got 3 slips. He's got a man at point. He's got a extra cover, which I would say is also a catching position for him, mid-on, mid-off, and mid-wicket. He comes in.
Comes from around the whistle, blocked to the bowler for no run.
Yeah, so this is nice work here, stringing the dots together, bowling in tandem, Sipamla and Mulder. This is going to help a lot, just to stop the game, stop the Sri Lankans from scoring. If you can't take their wickets, just string those dots together. Don't give them the release shot. Bowl 6 balls at the same man.
And this one just a bit wider, as tried to, was an attempted cut, but nothing from that.
Very nicely done, Wiaan. 18, he's conceded now. 1 ball to come in his 6th over. Karunaratne will face this one. This last one was wide, and Karunaratne just played over it down into the ground for no run. 37 off 63 is Karunaratne. Tiramane is on 18 off 44. The score is 57 for 1. The partnership is 56 from 100 balls for Sri Lanka. Mulder in.
Mulder coming from around the wickets again. And this one driven
Ooh,
right back to
nice.
the bowler. Very well
Two
fielded.
maidens in a row.
Yes, saving those runs, keeping it nice and tight, and this is what we're looking for. Just that change.
Mm.
There's something that happens when someone else comes on. There's a change of mentality, and that's what we found when Sipamla came. Just change the feel, the mood of the game. And as you can see,
Yes.
Bjorn Mulder going from conceding 6 runs or so in his previous over to conceding none in the next. So definitely something with the change there. Look at all these Fernandos on the bowling side. It's actually pretty crazy. I wonder
Yeah,
how certain
Vishwa and
players
so did sorry, say again. You wonder how?
like where do the Fernando surnames come from? Like what region? How are they in the
If I
subcontinent? Is
if
Sri
I
Lanka like
remember correctly, Sri Lanka, which used to be Ceylon, as we watched Sapamla coming in around the wicket.
around the wicket? This one blocked square for 1 run. I just
Yeah,
bounced into
just
the ground.
behind point.
Pick that up.
Yeah. Markram at Gully running around to field that. They take a single 58 for one. And apparently there was some Portuguese influence there as well.
I
And that's where the
see.
Fernandos come from. Yeah.
I see. Okay,
Mhm.
that makes sense.
Yes. So I can't remember where I heard that, but I do remember from the last Sri Lanka series, someone mentioned this. It must have been our own resident Sri Lankan, who unfortunately said he won't be able to join us during any of these days. Sipamla in.
That's unfortunate. So this one blocked square of the wicket, a shot the stumps from Timber Bavuma, and they took a quick single there and sitting on 59 for one. Just keeping that scoreboard ticking, just keeping the strike rotating. These guys are actually doing very well. Karunaratne and Hirman. What was that
Yeah,
partnership?
after
They just
those
passed
two
50.
maidens,
Yeah,
yeah, they uh, they did they did a good job now to just rotate the strike there twice in a row. Let's see what Sipamla does with this one as we see some highlights from the Algar van der Dussen partnership. Waiting for Sipamla to continue. Um,
as he comes
he
from
does
around the
now.
wickets. This one in the slots, driven quite square, but in between the cover point region for 4 runs. And Thirman's
Good
drives
shot.
have been looking absolutely immaculate.
Yeah, so there you
Look,
go. Another 6 runs off the over. Too wide by Sipamla and giving enough room for, was that Kurunaratne?
no, no, it's
Uh,
Thirman.
that was Tirmani to free the arms. Nice cover drive, nice position, well balanced, punishing the bad ball. 62 runs now is the partnership for Sri Lanka. That means that their score is on 63. Sipamla in again.
From around the wickets. Oof! And this
Oh,
one just passing the bat as Thirman tries to block. We have a battle of bat and ball over here, ladies and gentlemen. This is what we want from Test cricket. It's a fantastic response from Supamla. And this one, he was expecting some movement, but it didn't come. And it just missed the edge of the bat.
yeah, he's coming from around the wicket.
Millimeters.
The batsman has no choice but to play it, and just too much movement off the pitch. So excellent line there by Sipamla, bringing it back to where it should be. And let's see what he does with this next one. Tiramane is now on 23 or 47,
It was a
facing Lucas
setup. It was
Sipamla
a setup the whole
coming
time.
around the wicket. Mm-hmm.
Oof.
Oh, and he looked
Just passing
behind.
the bat. Ooh,
That was
ooh,
so
again.
close.
Oh, this man's hot.
Nice.
This man's
Yeah,
hot.
just a little bit shorter, but exactly the same thing where the ball is coming from around the wicket into the off stump of the left-hander, so he has to play it.
Just look at how
And
it just
so,
skids away here. Ooh.
and
Oh,
it just
wow. Yeah.
moves away too much to beat the outside edge. Well, not too much movement, and so it beats the outside edge as Tiramane tried to defend that, but missed it completely. Last ball of Sipamla's third over.
A fantastic response as he comes in from around the wickets. And once again, oh, tantalizing bowling. Ooh, ooh, ooh. That was a setup the whole time. He was just trying to get into play. Oh wow! I can see why
Look,
Makantini gets so excited when he talks about Sir Pamela. His heart. Look at him. Look at how
no,
just. Oof.
he's bowling. Those last three deliveries were top quality stuff
Man.
from Luther Sipamla. Getting the movement off the pitch with the new ball, that's great to see. And apart from that little slip he had that allowed the drive from Tiramane, other than that, a good over. Sri Lanka, after 20 overs, are 63 for one. Only the one no ball by Vian Mulder so far from South Africa in the extras column.
Yes. And
Yeah,
I'm
just
Hello,
on
Mark.
to
ball.
you, Otto, for the next part of the session. We're splitting
Cool.
this in three. So thank you
Yes.
very much, Otto.
Cheers, you
And yeah,
guys. Enjoy.
Cheers, Otto.
sure.
Talk to you
Thank you,
later.
thank you.
Bye.
Yes, I think I've synced in with you. The first ball was cut by Karunaratne over the slips actually. It was a wide one and it went down to the boundary for four. So, a quick question: are you using headphones?
I'm using earphones. Yes.
Is it okay? I was just there's a bit of an echo I'm trying to get rid of.
Oh, I think
Yeah.
it's my
So
fan. Should I switch off my fan?
no, it's fine. Leave it for now.
Oh,
Next
as
ball played back. It sounds better now, actually. Next ball played back out to the offside, coming off the gloves of Dimuth Karunaratne. He's a little bit sore there, bringing, I think, the man of the series. That would be the physio. He's taken the glove off. Just no, the Sri Lankan
pulling
physio
it.
is the man of the series, and they are playing England on the 14th of, in 10 days, actually, on the 14th of Jan in the
Wow.
first test. The question would be, like, which players do they have um, to be able to field going through? Yeah, so far it looks like it's been Sri Lanka's session with the first first close to an hour. All in Sri Lanka is very good to see Dimuth Karunaratne getting a start. Lahira Tiramani also getting what you would call a start as well with 23 runs and Karunaratne on 38. I think obviously the South Africans that whole word inconsistency is coming back in again. You
Mhm.
just need this team to build pressure and dry up the runs for the Sri Lankans. But the Sri Lankans have done very well, leaving well and climbing onto the wide ball.
100%. And as you're saying that, we got a tweet from Tim, the cricket guy, saying, "Time to give Maharaj a ball?" Question mark. He'll
Yes,
ideally
it
need
is.
overs behind him before the Pakistan twin. And I must agree, as you're saying, the consistency is what we're lacking. There's just that one four ball in each over that's a plague that came from the first test. And we thought we were rid of this gremlin this test, but it seems like it's crept back in. But I think it is time for Maharaj to get a bowl just to bring a little bit more consistency, stability, drive the runs, and then maybe get a strike bowler on the opposite end.
Yes, I think the one, and obviously coming into this Wanderers chest, there was a question of do you take a spinner into the Wanderers test? But obviously, we know that the spinner in the third innings would come into play. And so the question is, obviously, you've got four quicks on the other end, and you want to give them an opportunity to bowl, but you also need to find a way to give your spinner in. And having five bowlers can also be a nightmare for the captain, especially at a ground like the Wanderers where it's always been seam dominant. But however, over the past couple of years, spinners have come into their own. And Keshav could be the partnership breaker here, even if it's just for a couple of overs before the drinks break. Karunaratne is still trying to get his glove on. That's why we're not necessarily commentating on the cricket. He's on 42. He's just trying to make sure that he can glove it. Another injury. We saw a similar. We saw Kusal Pereira get hit in the hand at the start of the Sri Lankan second innings, and so we just don't want it to be a serious one because obviously Sri Lanka are now down a whole lot of batsmen, and that's obviously something that Mickey Arthur and the team need to sort out because obviously England's in 10 days. They need to fly back to Sri Lanka, go through their 3 days of mandatory isolation, and then prepare for the test. So with all these injuries around, it's going to make it a lot harder for them to prepare for the test. in Sri Lanka, and so obviously they're also in this game knee deep, and you don't want them to have wickets to lose this one, and so he's getting ready to face the first ball of Vian Mulder. He's just aborted his run a little bit there. He's got 3 slips, does Vian, quietly widely spread, which is quite surprising, but maybe they're just trying to cover as much ground. Oh, it's 2 slips and a gully. This one's a lot straighter down the leg side, a little bit of swing in to the left-hander around the wicket, and it'll go down to fine leg for a single. So the total for Sri Lanka goes up to 68, with Karan Ratne's total going up to 43. Remember, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel at One World Sports Radio. That's where Guerrilla Cricket SA is broadcasting from on YouTube. There's also follow us on Guerrilla SA on Twitter, and also the One World Sports Radio Facebook page as well. And also tweet us at Guerrilla SA. Next ball is driven through the gap between gully and backward point for a lovely four. It was over pitched by Vian Mulder, and it was wide, and it was easy for Tirumani to play at that. It was a low risk shot and resulting in a 4.
Yeah, just a bit too expensive is Vian Mulder. These 4 balls creeping in once again. And look at this shot. It's absolutely fantastic. Slice this one from the middle of the bat. A very intentional square drive.
Beautiful.
Oh, technique. Tirumani's technique. His drives. Just look. That's like he got his license at the age of 4. It's incredible. But you're speaking of contacting us on Twitter.
Mulder in. This one's This one's down the leg side, over pitched, and a half volley that Tirumani obliges, and it goes down to the boundary, the mid-wicket boundary for 4.
Sure. Expensive over, expensive, big. This one just off the pads, clipped in front of his pads. Oh wow!
Half tracker there from him. But that's, I think Vian this innings has struggled with his lengths. His lines have been good. It's just his lengths have been on the shorter side for large parts of his bowling innings, and I'm not sure if he's getting tired. That one's much better. A lot fuller, induces the edge, and safely bounces in front of Aiden Markram at gully. The South Africans are now in that position, in that period of the game where you're trailing by around about 69. And you need to also take wickets, but also try and stem the run flow, which is why Vian's now only working with two slips. But the other thing that we saw yesterday was that it got easier to bat on towards the back end of the day yesterday, and this was the time when Dean Elgar was in full flight yesterday with Rassie van der Dussen. So there's also something that works with that, to say that maybe early morning sessions up until midway through lunch, that's the best time to take wickets, but you also need to be consistent from a South African point of view. That's the end of that over. Oh, we're in the middle of this over.
What? How did this happen?
Oh, just wait. No, sorry. It's the scorecard. I'm just being played around by Super.
That was from the previous innings. I see what you saw as well.
Yes, I was like, wait, what's going on? A little bit there. Next start of the new over, Luto Sipamla, who's bowled quite well. And this one just getting played out to the leg side by Karuna Ratne for no run. He's bowled quite well for his 11 runs in his 3 overs. I think he beat the bat a few times in the last over that he bowled. So it's something that that the South Africans will be hoping he builds on, and in order to just get this breakthrough.
Now we see why he's been chosen the test side here. Some great consistency, great lines, and potential threats as he comes in.
Yeah, Sipamla into Karuna Ratne. This one's short and he ducks underneath it. This beautiful ball there from Sipamla. Karuna Ratne thought of coming into the shot. He aborted mission halfway through, but a lovely rip slaughter from Sipamla there.
But just as we're looking at Sipamla's great bowling here, just passing the bat, we're going to need someone on the other end to just keep things tight. So there's a tweet here from Chivanza asking, I wanted to ask about Keshav Maharaj, when is the best time to bring him in? When is the best time? Would now be a good time to tighten up the other end, or are we just going to continue with pace?
I think now would be a good time, maybe after the drinks break. A full ball from Sapamla, block hole, dug out very well by Karunaratne back to the bowler. Very good a ball from Sapamla there. That was at 142 kilometers per hour.
Fantastic bowling from the young man, but he definitely needs assistance on the other end. You can't have balls like this, and then on the other end, they're just spanking it to the boundary like it's a child that did something wrong.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
yeah, and to a certain extent, that's something that Quinton needs to figure out as to what's the best partnership to bowl with Sapamla. So Sapamla's got Vian Moldavian's not bowling quite well, so maybe it might be a time to give him a bit of a rest. As Sapamla comes in for the fourth ball of his fourth over. This one is over pitched and all timing there, driven straight down the ground to that long on boundary. It teased Dean Alga and invited him to come along with the chase there, but it eventually won that race and the fought to that Sri Lankan total.
Yeah, 100%. Karunaratne looking fantastic in the middle there. Sitting on 47, a great on drive. Just the bat turns in his hands and it goes to the onside as he just fetched it on the line of fourth stump. But he's looking very comfy there. So we're just going to need someone to either, just get him a little less comfortable or quiet him up because he's getting a lot of runs here.
Yes, yeah, that's very true. Tsepo and Karunaratne is now on 47. And the question is obviously, what's Sapamla going to bowl again? This one's another, this one's slightly fuller than the previous one and gets the inside half of the bat and goes past the fielder at mid-on, down to the boundary for a 4 that brings up the 50 for Dimuth Karunaratne. It's 84 with for 1, and he is on 51 with not out. We're helping him reach his 25th Test 50.
Yes, 25th Test 50 is on 51 off 73 balls, and that's a 50 that comprises of 10 fours. Oh, wow, 40 runs and boundaries, and at a strike rate of 68.9. We have some tweets here from Ravi, who spent the day in the pool, jumped in when Quinton de Kock and Bavuma were batting, and returned in Sri Lanka at the time were 68 for 1. Oh, dear.
Yes.
Oh, dear,
Final
indeed, Ravi. You should be watching. Sorry
Final
about
ball of that just played out to the leg side, just straying with his line there is Sapamla. A single is taken, a quick one, great calling from Tiramani, running into the striker's end, and that's the end of the over, 85 for 1.
Yeah, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear indeed. Sri Lankans really building up a partnership here. 84-run partnership between the two. They're really ticking along nicely. And as you said, it was the same time that Rassie Finadison and Dean Algar, the second wicket partnership, in fact, after an early wicket. Funny how these innings are mirroring each other. But yes, after the second wicket, for the second wicket rather, big partnership here. Do you think things are going to go similarly tomorrow morning? Can we expect that the first session is going to be a bit on the batter's side and then the fast bowlers will hit their straps eventually?
Oh, I think with the South African bowling attack, because they're inexperienced, it takes a lot of time for them to remember what they've done, and because this is muscle memory largely. So you Ngiti to start a new over. This one is short and wide and slapped to point. There's a sweeper at the point boundary for a single. That was Dimuth Karunaratne who took that single. So it's 86 for 1. And so obviously these guys played a handful of tests. I think no one's played over 10 tests. So they're still getting used to the test match rhythm, the test match line, the test match length. Sita Fernando found it directly from the first ball yesterday. I think he was one of the better Sri Lankan bowlers yesterday, was unlucky not to get wickets. And today he just came through. And so it's that. It will take time, and every session you need to give the South Africans a chance. Next ball outside the off stump, a little bit wider there, and Tiramani lets it go through to Quinton de Kock for a run. So I honestly do. So I do think maybe after the drinks break, which will be coming soon, the South Africans will try and reassess and go back to the plans that they've discussed in the change room, and try hit those lines and lengths, because this first hour after tea hasn't been that great, and it's been very loose. Gidi in with two slips, two Turimani, and cuts him in there. Gidi with that natural shape into the left hander, that shape out wide to the right hander, and this one just Turimani leaving it on length there, which you can do here at the Wanderers. There hasn't been a hint of inconsistent bounce, so he's just trusting the pitch there, and go well left.
Very well left. We have a few tweets here from Ravi. Saying, I actually stole his thunder. This was a while ago. He says, I recall Sri Lanka were in a similar position yesterday and resulted in collapso of sorts. Perhaps Protea Fire will experience similar fortunes. Gorilla SA, as Ngidi comes in.
Ngidi in to Tiramani, who just defends that really nicely to the leg side, no run.
And continuing with a few tweets here, Chiwanza says, CS Chiwanza says, it'll be interesting to see when Keshav Maharaj, will be brought on, because it looks like these guys are enjoying the pace.
They're enjoying the pace because the South Africans have been wayward. No, it's very true. The South Africans, no, but they've been wayward. If you look at the way in which the South Africans have been burning, they've given Nokia, they've given Ngiti, they've given Mulder plenty plus slips, but they've always just bowled it either short and wide, too full and wide, and it's not necessarily going to slips. Next ball driven out to the fielder, add extra cover. That is a Temba Bavuma, no run there. And Gidi's very tight so far in this over with his line outside the off stump, so it's very good bowling from him. But there's also a lesson in terms of when you start an innings or even a session, you always need to make sure that you find your line. It takes a little bit of time, but you need to try and find your line. Obviously, the more experienced test match bowlers get that very quickly. Others might just jump on top of it very easily, but it requires a lot of work. And that's what this bowling lineup is learning on the job. Next ball down the leg side. Is he Burkle? It looks like he is. Quinton de Kock's going up and have another wicket. The South Africans.
There was a sound.
There was a sound there down the leg side. Tiramani is walking, seemingly burgled down the leg side with the worst ball of this first over. There have been 6 balls that were bowled by Lungi Ngidi, and the worst one takes the wicket. Bad balls take wickets sometimes, my friends. And so Tiramani is out.
Oh. Yeah, that one you can see that there's a lot of movement. Definitely hitting something. Was it definitely the glove? Just the tip in between the shoulder of the bat and the glove. And Quinton de Kock fetches this one on the leg side. Rashi van der Dussen went the same way. Let's not forget. So
yes. So can you give us Tiramani's stats if you have them on you?
I can give you Tiramani's stats. He was out for 31. After facing 57 balls, and he was bowled by Lungi Ngidi, caught by the Cock with the gloves, and he hit 7 fours in his innings. Do you mind if I quickly jump through some tweets here?
Yes, yeah, sure. It's the end of the over, and it's a drinks break, so you can do that.
Fantastic. Ravi Reddy, the heavy roller, says, remember, fellas, a lead is a lead. Sri Lanka are a wicket down with 61 runs to go. 2 or 3 6 will put the visitors in under enormous pressure, and I cannot agree more. We are still in the driver's seats, but you're hoping for a more clinical performance. But I guess that's the way it is with you. And
that is very true.
Any comments you want to add? Next tweet, I would agree. Ravi Reddy says, I would agree with CS Chirwaza. I think bringing Keshav would have a few overs. I think bringing Keshav to have a few overs before drinks would be a good idea. And that one was there. And then we have one more from AB saying that, man, I love a good burglary in cricket, which is a sport. Damn.
Yes, the next batsman in is Kusal Mendes, a right-handed batsman. He's played 46 matches, 88 innings, 3,007 runs, with an average of 35.8. And He's had 1150s and 700s, so he'll be hoping to stick around with his captain there and try and get this leaders down as much as possible.
Kusal Mendes hasn't really kicked on this series. Went out for a duck in the last innings, and I think in the first test he also might have got himself 2 ducks. But a quality batsman nonetheless. He really hopes to get some runs in this innings at least.
Yes, and it's the last time they're batting in South Africa, so they'll want to leave on a high. Essentially, you obviously want to make sure, especially with the England tour coming up as well. If you look at that Tirmani wicket, it hit his glove there. The first ball of the next over is Sipamla to Karunaratne, who strokes this beautifully through the third man region for 4.
Oh, a freebie. But Karunaratne really finding a gap there.
Too many freebies here. We're not in a market here. We're not giving people free things. Yes, but that's a good shot there from him. It was all timing, and he can take that shot because the slip fielders are all out. So it's a less riskier shot as required.
And that's a very square drive. That.
Sipamla into to Karunaratne, who plays this one on the inside half of the bat down to Keshav, who has been a topic of conversation at mid-on for no run.
Yeah, we really do want to see him with the ball in his hands, but while he's starting his run-up, just to tighten up the ends, he's just too many 4 balls. Maybe the pace bowlers need a bit of some time off. But obviously, if you're a bowler, you want to bowl, and you want to give them a good go. You can't just take them out after 2 overs. So we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, so Karunaratne has 2 slips, a gully, and extra cover, mid-on, mid-off. So far as what we see here, this one straighter line outside the off stump and played back to the bowler, no run.
We have 2 more tweets here. One from CS Shizwa once again. Not too much left to do in the day. And I think that's a comment to Keshav, or bringing Keshav in. And Ravi Reddy says, loving Karunaratne's on drives, a sign of a man in form. And due for a hefty score, rather heavy.
That's very true. He's been under a lot of criticism so far, based on his starts, and obviously having Kusal Pereira on the other end, who's been plastering the South Africans. Next ball just played out. Not a lot of timing there. It was a wide-ish line and short, and Karunaratne would be kicking himself for not being able to get a lot more bat on that, as that one just rolls out to extra cover no run. He's struggled, and he spoke about, even in the press conference, about his form, about how he needed to give him time to get himself in, and be a little bit more patient. And the first test he played around, was tentative for 10 overs, then got out. Now obviously he's there on 56 and has done an incredible job as well. Luto Sipamla bowling the 5th ball of this over, coming in right arm around the wicket, and it's a straighter one on middle and off. Easy off volley down to the fielder at the square leg boundary. Great fielding from Vian Mulder, who had to he had to come a long way to prevent that with his hand there, one-handed stop on the bounce, and it is a single taken by the Sri Lankans.
Was it not 3? 3. No, not 2, maybe 2. A single. Oh, great fielding by Jan Mulder.
I think they did take a 2 off of that ball. I beg your pardon. And so, yes, there was 2.
Back on track. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Great fielding from the young man.
Yeah, hi guys.
Hello, Simon. Sipamla in again. Short ball cutting him in half. Didn't bounce as much as he expected. Going back to Quinton de Kock for around. That's the end of the over. 92 for 2.
Sorry about that. I had the wrong headphones in, so I was talking into the wrong laptop.
That's okay.
We're nothing if not technically brilliant at 1WSR.
That is okay. Simon will be joining me for the final stint, the final hour and a bit. So, Tepo, thank you very much, my friend.
Cheers, guys. Thanks for having
cheers,
me.
mate. Thanks very much for your service today. And we'll see you bright and shiny tomorrow, probably at some point.
Yes, sir.
Yes. If the wickets don't fall today, because Simon's coming on and he'll be doing so. We're gonna Simon, I think we're gonna go probably live soon, but let me just go call the next ball and then we'll adjust that quickly. Just waiting on that. Next over to be bowled by Lungi Ngidi. And this one's down the leg side, another burglary, and it's a wicket to the South Africans. It is that is a Kusal Mendes. He can't believe his luck. Another duck on tour. Just not that great. He walks away. Lungi Ngidi with some very poor bowling, are getting wickets nonetheless. Sri Lanka are 92 for 3. Mendes out for no runs.
Not only no runs, that's a first ball duck, and it's a pair as well, I think, for Kusal Mendes. So not a great trip to Johannesburg for him at all. And he's, I'm pretty sure, feeling quite bleak about that. Real strangle down the leg side. 2 of those wickets in a row now for Lungi Ngidi. The previous one was similar, wasn't it?
Yes. He's on a hat trick. Yes, he's on a hat trick.
He is. And that was a phenomenal catch by Quinton de Kock because it didn't brush the gloves. It actually came off the face of the bat. And I mean, this would have been a fairly decent leg glance for 4 if Quinny hadn't got across there. An absolutely superb catch. And that leaves Sri Lanka now at 92 for 3 with Lungi Ngidi staring down the barrel of possibly a hat trick that he might be vaguely embarrassed by.
Yes, this gives us the opportunity for us to then move on to live and not have Otto's timing a little bit there. So we'll just do that because we've got the commercial. It's a drinks break right now.
Oh, perfect.
And so Sri Lanka on 92 for 3. If you're just joining us, they trail South Africa by 53 runs. And so we're there. And I think if you're just joining, Lungi Ngidi's come on and taken 2 wickets, something that Quinton de Kock would have loved as a captain. Always going to your strike bowler and him giving you the ball. Normally it was KG, previously it was Dale Steyn. In this test, it's Ngidi as well.
Yeah, I mean he's bowled reasonably well today, and certainly just that extra bit of pace makes all the difference. It's definitely the defining difference between these two teams is not even 10 kilometers an hour, sort of 6 or 7 k's an hour is enough to just hurry the batsman on that a little bit, and then you start getting wickets like these 2 strangled down the leg side. So he's going to be well chuffed with that. When was the last time a South African took a hat trick in tests? I can't really think of one.
I think that's what we're going to have to ask our Guerrilla Universe. Simon, would you like to do ball by ball?
I'm happy to do ball by ball. I'm sure you've been on for a while, so you probably need to have a chance to breathe every now and again. Minod Manuka coming in, so he's going to be facing a hat trick ball from Lungi Ngidi on his debut. So obviously he batted a little bit in the first innings. Here comes Lungi from the golf course end. He's going to be coming in past umpire Erasmus. It's a shorter ball, but left outside the off stump.
Make him play.
Come on, yeah, exactly. That's the golden rule. There's 2 rules to a hat trick ball: is you don't try and do anything fancy, and you make the player play. That's the two. Make the batsman play. Yeah. The 2 essential things to do. I mean, that's just having another look at that wicket. It was a phenomenal take by Quinny. He is an incredible athlete. Made a long way across to his left and took it in the outstretched fingertips of both hands, goalkeeper style. Very, very chuffed with that. Lungi again, right arm around the wicket to the left-handed Banaka and defended into the onside and no run. Sri Lanka 92 for 3. Karunaratne is there on the non-strikers end at 58. Banaka just joined on 0.
It looks like he's pulled something.
Oh no, he hasn't, has he? Oh, he's
Or
just he
what
just
is that
adjusted
thing?
this. I don't know.
That-
It's like an auto lace. It's a little round plastic thing on his boot. I've only ever seen them on triathletes' running shoes, where they don't want to spend the time.
He twisted his ankle in that landing area.
Oh, did it go over slightly? Yeah.
Yes, as his that would be his right foot actually.
Oh,
No, his
wait,
left foot came in. That's his
be
landing foot.
on his landing foot, yeah, which is not going to be ideal. He bowls this one safely through the channel, which is exactly the sort of ball you probably bowl when you're a little bit sore and you just want to check that everything is working okay.
So his right boot has the strap, the Velcro strap, and his left boot has laces, and he adjusts this knob, which is a fascinating piece of technology.
Yes, I see. Okay, so he did just on his landing foot, he came slightly, sort of twisted slightly to his left, which is every fast bowler's fear, that, isn't it?
Yeah.
He's really got classic fast bowler's boots. He's got the toe cut out of that left boot as well.
You think Adidas would create a shoe that has a hole in the middle where you can put your foot in without people having to cut holes inside?
You would think so. A fuller ball, and this is driven to a diving Temba Bavuma at a catching cover and no run. Yeah, I suspect, though, that Adidas quite correctly have realized that if you care that much about your toes being able to see where they're going, you're happy to take scissors to your shoe, but mostly they want their shoes to look absolutely sensational when they're on the shelf, and most shoes are probably designed for that ahead of any comfort in the actual play.
No, what I was saying is that inside the shoe, so there's no need to then just make sure that there's a little room. So if it's
have like a sort of elasticated toe area where it can.
It's like the way your toe will go into. But
that probably is the way to go.
Cutting the shoe open.
Yeah, again, in that sixth stump channel, really a sort of wasted exercise for everyone. And I would have thought steaming all the way in just to let the batsman guarantee that he's going to leave it alone. That's the end of Ngidi's 6 over. He's been parsimonious of note. 3 for 11, or are his figures. So he's done incredibly well. Sri Lanka 92 for 3 at the moment. They trail by 53 with just the 7 wickets standing. Karunaratne is standing there bold on 58, but he's now joined very, very much by the middle order, including some very, very inexperienced players.
So, we've got some tweets. Otto replying to Ravi, who said that he loves Karunaratne's drives and it's a sign of him getting a hefty score. Otto replying, hopefully not this test. And then Tsepo Taela, who just finished, said, you must be having a great time with all these burglaries. Quinny, you beauty.
The start of the next over. This is Sapamla's 6th over. He's been expensive, 0 for 25 off 5. And he's also coming around the wickets to the left-handed Karunaratne. Why are there so many left-handed Sri Lankans? Are there more left-handed Sri Lankans in the general population, or do they only select them?
But if you look at guys trying to emulate, we heard the story yesterday of Kusal Perera starting his cricket as a right-hander and becoming a left-hander because of Jayasuriya. You had Sangakkara as a lefty. So a lot of people maybe want to emulate the greats.
Attempted off drive from Sapamla, and he gets a bit of an inside bat onto it, and it just bobbles across the pitch and no run. Yeah, I mean, that's quite a bold step to change your entire batting stance to emulate your hero.
But if you think about it, as a right-handed person, I should actually be batting left-handed.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I think that we teach children incorrectly at school. We should actually be encouraging left-handed stance, or at least letting them just pick it up and do whatever comes naturally.
Well, whatever comes naturally would be right-handed, because if you played hockey, you'd be playing the correct side.
That's also true, yeah. Sapamla, and again, and this is tucked around the corner down to Lungi Ngidi, who's getting no rest at all here. And he fires it in with that gun arm of his, having a go at the runouts as they scamper through for 2. Karunaratne now goes to 60, and Sri Lanka to 94 for 3.
So, like on that left-handed thing, so Devon Conway, the South African who made his debut for. So when I was at school with him, he batted left-handed. He always batted left-handed. So when he came to hockey, he was one of the only few guys who could play with the left-handed side, with the reverse side of the stick. And because there was this one kid at Kearsley who could only play on the left-hand side with that reverse side.
Defended into the offside and no run. Yeah, I mean, it's if you can sort of look ahead and realize that you're not going to compromise your children, and then there's no doubt that it's better to try and encourage them to bat left-handed. But I don't recall. I mean, this idea of bowling right and batting left, which seems to be really, really common now. When I was at school, we didn't have a single person like that. We had one guy who was completely ambidextrous, Lance Sherrill, who went on. He was a few years ahead of me, but he went on to play certainly first-class rugby and cricket. And he would switch over in the middle of the over and bowl left arm over and then right arm over. But this is driven through the offside by Karunaratne. It's going to run all the way down to the mid-off boundary, and that takes
what is Dean doing?
98 for 3.
Dean was standing there at extra cover, and he doesn't get his body behind the ball, and just really weak attempt at fielding. He's clearly losing some captaincy points.
I was busy telling stories from the late 80s. So I wasn't paying attention until, he should have made much more of an effort there. He got caught a little bit by the bounce, but he really should have put the dive in, I think.
Yeah. No, so the other thing was, obviously, Gregory Mahlokwane is one of the other guys who can do that. He can bowl with his right hand and his left hand spin, and he plays for the Titans now. Devon...
I mean, the idea of guys of not being ambidextrous, but necessarily, or a ball that keeps low from Sipamla, and Karunaratne drops his bat on it, actually squeezes out to square leg, and they're able to jog through for a single, 99 for 3. I mean, being ambidextrous is a slightly different thing, but the sort of fairly common occurrence now of bowling with one hand and batting with the other seems to be something that's come in the last 10 to 15 years or so. Or was I not paying sufficient attention in the early 90s?
I don't know, but obviously Devon also bowled some, I think it was off spin, or he bowled some right arm medium, some dibbly dobblers as well. But there was one moment where, obviously for the first team in hockey, he, in a short corner, he would take the left post and he would stand in his cricketing stance as though he's receiving a fast ball, waiting to receive a ball from a quickie. And the one time he got a drag flick that went down to the left post, and he just hooked it behind the post onto the bank at St. John's, onto the first team field, which is quite mesmerizing for me on the other post, because I was still trying to figure out where the ball's going.
But it's an interesting experience that I've had similar experiences in hockey. I'm not a great hockey player at all. I'm not a great anything, to be honest. But cricket is definitely my first choice as a ball sport. And I remember a couple of times being in a situation in the D where suddenly everything aligns and you're in a position and an angle where a cricket shot makes more sense than a hockey shot. Like a late cut into the goal or something like that. And I found life much, much easier then once suddenly hockey felt like cricket. As Ngidi starts the second ball, in fact, of his second over, getting quite a lot of lift outside the off stump there from against the left-hander. But he's not really making Karunaratne or Banuka play enough here, I feel, and needs to maybe just consider going back across these players.
I think just, but Lungi has always found joy coming around the wicket, trying to shape it into the left hand. I think the person who that line works for is Mulder and Nokia, because obviously Mulder tucks the batsman in, and Nokia with the bounce, it simulates that body line angle that he loves so much.
He pitches this up a little bit, and there's a comedy of errors. It's driven out to mid-off, and Dean Elgar, who's not having the greatest 10 minutes of his test career here, fields it and then throws it back in to Karunaratne's end. And I don't know whether it hit the batsman or it hit the stumps, but it certainly gave Karunaratne a bit of a fright as it came past.
Yeah, so we've got some tweets, and I'll get through them now. Stuart Hess saying, diving full length to his left is a thing of for Quinny. Top grab that, just like the one that to get Dikwela in the first innings. 3 ducks in a row for poor old Mendes. 92 for 3, still trailed by 53. And Ravi quotes.
This is a pitched up ball from Lungiangidi and just driven through the onside side of the stumps. A very, very straight drive. That goes away for 4. That brings up Sri Lanka's 103 for 3 now, coming off how many overs here? About 27 overs, and going along at just a little under 4 runs and over. The run rate right the way through this test has been exceptional. But this entire series, you're absolutely right. So 103 for 3, and Sri Lanka still trail by 42 runs with 7 wickets standing.
Yeah, so Ravi quoting that Stuart Hess tweet saying 3 down at Gorilla SA. What did Uncle Ravi tell you? And then he said, what happened to the legendary sound of the duck? Kusal Mendes deserves one befitting of a duck.
Yeah, that would have been a great jingle to have. And another shot back past the bowler, this time just brushing the outstretched fingers of Lungiangidi. I think Lungi thought that he might have had been in the money there for a caught and bowled, but it went past him very, very quickly. And that takes Sri Lanka through now to 107 for 3, and Karunaratne goes into the 70s. He didn't quite get his finger to it. Nearly collected Maria Rasmus on the way through as well. But in the end, actually, probably a very, very safe shot.
Just to remind me again, I keep on forgetting that. Is it a dead ball if the ball hits the umpire?
No, no, not at all.
Is it a great fielding effort from the umpire?
Yeah, the umpire is just considered a lump of sod for all that it counts, I don't think. It would only be, you could call dead ball if the umpire became very, very seriously injured injured enough that there was concern. Then the other umpire could call dead ball so that he could get attention straight away. But no, it's not an automatic dead ball.
Okay. And so in the other test, there was a pull that went straight down Adrian Holtstock's throat, and he had a moment where he wanted to catch it, but then he decided to move away. If he caught it, would have that been out or would that have been dead ball?
Well, it certainly wouldn't be out. I don't know. That's a really good question, because if he caught it and then threw it to another player, and it was then taken, would that be out? No. Then that would be a really good question. Any of our umpiring mates who are listening, please let us know. If the umpire for no apparent reason caught it and then passed it on to another player who took it without it touching the ground, would that be out? I suspect it would be dead ball then. But certainly if it deflected off the umpire, if it clouted him on the noggin and then flew to mid-off, that would still be out, I think. I don't think there's any reason why that wouldn't be out.
Okay, hit him on the head. Oh, that's an interesting one, Simon.
Right, there's a new bowler in, Nortje, who squares up the batsman straight away, and they're going to get through for a single. That gets Banuka off the strike. He's replaced Sapamla from this end, has Nortje. He's bowled 7 overs to his 25.
That looked very uncomfortable.
Yeah, it came in on his body. Nortje's bowling right arm over to the left-handed Banuka, but bowling a very, very straight line, and he sort of shaped to try and pull it, I think, but the ball was way, way too fast for him. I mean, he didn't even get close to engineering a shot, and really just had it come onto his fingers. Nortje now into Karunaratne. Past the umpire, similar sort of ball, handled a bit better by the Karunaratne, who just tucks it around the corner, and he's going to jog through for an agreed single, realizing quite correctly that the best way to deal with Heinrich Nortje is to watch him from the non-striker's end.
Yeah, but I see. I'm loving this length from Heinrich, but I'd also like for him to push it a little bit shorter, a little bit fuller, just to bring the batsman away from the batsman, especially after these 2 short balls. Maybe the batsman might just feel that they're lucky, and you might bring in the slips into play. But yeah, I think he needs to do that a lot more often.
Well, he does drop this one a little bit shorter, and he does go for the pull. It's Keshav Maharaj who runs away from it, takes a diving catch, running away from the non-striker's end, Very,
done,
very good catch indeed. And that is the end of Banuka. So you called it, Mpo. He got it absolutely right. Slightly shorter, slightly more threatening, gave the batsman a chance to pull. And that is Sri Lanka's 4th wicket down.
Keshav slightly injured himself there, as well as he was coming down. Those ones are tough because obviously as you catch the ball, when you come down and your elbows hit the ground, it might just bobble out. So he did an incredible job of catching that. That was just the top edge. Really didn't need to play at that, did Banuka, but he struggled this test under the short ball. The first one catching his glove and going to Quinton. Next one, this one is just obviously a top edge. Just not a way to start your test career.
Yeah, I think he had decided he wanted to be more positive against Nortje. Look, the South Africans were absolutely blatant about it. He came out to bat, and they brought him on within 3 overs. They brought Nortje on within 3 overs. And Heinrich had called this right from the gun. That press conference he gave on the eve of the first test, where he said, if you're getting short balls from me, it's because I know that you're uncomfortable under the short ball. So that's clearly what they've identified in Minod Panuka. As a man who hasn't played a lot of international cricket, I'm sure that Heinrich Nortje is easily the fastest bowler that he's ever faced. Certainly the most threatening, unless he's had a chance to play, some Sri Lanka A cricket against someone like Australia.
Dale Steyn was in the Sri Lanka Premier League, so possibly Minod could have faced him.
Possibly, maybe, yeah. It'd be interesting to see how he handled Steyn.
That was an interesting one as well. Dale said he has not retired from cricket. And which is everyone started tweeting, everyone who's involved in South African cricket, to say, hey, look at this. Why isn't Dale Steyn playing? But I think he wants to go to the T20 World Cup later in the year. That's going to be very interesting.
Yeah. He has formally retired from Test cricket, hasn't he? I think
yes.
Yeah.
It's just that
I sometimes lose track with the various formats and so on as to where guys actually stand. So the next batsman is Niroshan Dikwela, the wicketkeeper, who's had a reasonably good time behind the stumps, taken some decent catches. And he's going to be, he gets greeted with a short ball that launches over Quinton de Kock and runs away for 4 byes, much to Quinny's irritation, I'm sure. But that was Heinrich Nortje getting ahead of himself there.
Yeah, I'm never happy as I know South Africans the bowlers love the bounce at the Wanderers, but I'm never happy seeing the ball sail so high over the keeper's head as a sign of aggression. But look, it's part of it's something that if I was coach, I'd want to get rid of very quickly. But also, obviously, Heinrich needs to find his length to the batsman.
Yeah, and he does find it a bit better this time. In fact, other than that ball that sailed well over his head, Nortje's length this over has been absolutely magnificent. He troubled both Banuka and Karunaratne in the first 2 balls of the over, and this one again just getting up into the ribs of the captain and forcing a defence onto the onside. But he's looking like an absolute handful at the moment to be facing. He's bowling at 150 k's an hour. Oh, shorter ball again, but it kept very, very low, very nearly clipped the off stump. And Karunaratne went for the pull, but missed it completely. That is the end of the over. He has survived 73 off 97. Dikwela yet to face a ball, and Sri Lanka 113 for 4.
Woo, just past that off stump. Really good ball there. It died. It effectively died on Dikwela, and Quinton does not know how that missed the off stump. A tweet from Ravi, Uncle Ravi and Heinrich Nortje strike again. The heat is on, with a fire emoji.
Which well. Ravi is this? Ravi red or Ravi blue?
Ready.
Ravi red.
Oh, that's how you red and blue. Oh, okay. Now that makes sense.
Were you there? If it was one of those late night conversations on our WhatsApp group as to whether Ravi Nair could reasonably be called blue to Matt, or a bit of a waft outside the off stump to Ngidi's 8th over, and Dikwela very, very nearly edged the first ball that he faced into the flip cordon there.
Yes, Ngidi's looking very threatening. I don't think he wants to come back tomorrow. I think he wants to end the whole bio-bubble thing tomorrow. But I think they're going to stay in the bubble and fly to to Pakistan in probably in the next week or so.
Surely they're not going to say. Surely they'll get to go home for a week and then come back into the bubble. I think that would.
It depends on obviously Pakistani quarantining rules. So the England team landed yesterday. They have to quarantine for 3 days in their rooms, and then obviously on a positive test you come out, and that's why Moeen Ali and Chris Works are in for a 10-day stay, which
left outside the offside and no run,
which effectively rules them out from the first test against Sri
Sorry,
Lanka.
say that all again. Why Moeen Ali and co off?
So England are playing Sri Lanka on the 14th. They arrived at the airport in Colombo yesterday. They took tests, COVID-19 tests at the airport. And then obviously you need to, after you've taken the test, you isolate in your room for 3 days. Today they found out that Moeen Ali tested positive. And his close, and the player who's in close contact with him was Chris Works. So Chris Works is isolating pending the result of a positive test. Yes.
I wonder whether do they scatter them through the plane on the flight? I mean, do they try and do that?
I would assume so.
Just a fuller ball and just punched out into the offside by Neeraj Dikwela, and they go through for a single. That takes Sri Lanka to 114 for 4 and gets Neeraj off the mark.
Yes, that's a good, lovely shot from him. Just all timing. Slightly unbalanced. His front foot wasn't fully down when he played that shot. So the South Africans might feel that there could be a possibility of an edge there with that technique. But it's good for a batsman to get off the mark.
Yeah, it is indeed. I think he'll be relieved to get down the other end. But they are in for a torrid time at the moment. I mean, two of the really sort of serious fast bowlers in world cricket at the moment, steaming into them, left arm or right arm around the wicket, rather. It is a thick edge, never really in danger, I think, of being a catch to Faf du Plessis. It went on the bounce. Faf looks like he's hurt himself a little bit. I think it hit him on the heel of the hand, or possibly maybe it caught him on the end of the finger. Yeah, he's struggling a little bit with his ring finger there.
Yes, Faf's fingers have taken a beating over his test career, over his cricketing career. It's another one for him to wear as a badge of honor.
Yeah, it was a genuine edge, but it was played with soft hands and down, and got him on the bounce. Faf got his hands across it, but immediately you could see him wincing as it hit the fingers of his right hand, his left hand, I think it did. Yeah,
this is left,
who would want to? A much straighter ball again. It goes to. It's not Faf this time. It's the third slip. Who's at that? Is that Dion Elgar?
Yes.
But Lungi is feeling like he can catch the. No, it was Dion Elgar. He's Lungi feeling like he can catch the edge just completely at will here at the moment. Really squared the batsman up there.
Yeah, good ball in coming into the left-hander. He's obviously the first ball of the over just went straight on. The next few have been spearing into Dikwela. So he's testing all defenses. He's testing obviously the gap between bat and pad. He's also testing the edges. Now there's a third slip, and they seem quite closer. And that gully is very close.
Yeah, they've crept up here. There's been a lot of debate around this amongst particularly the Australian commentary crew lately. And I know Shane Warner's of the attitude that he would rather see guys stand really close and drop a few than allow it to come to you on the bounce. I think in situations where it's bouncing just shy of you, that's correct. But both of those edges bounced a good meter and a half in front of the slip cord, and they weren't really catches at all. They were angled down, from the bat, and I think it would be a mistake to take a couple of steps forward to try and compensate for that.
Yeah, Shane Warne's been the master of all rules there in that Australia series. He's telling everybody that he's on the ICC panel and he's in the committee. Loving the name dropping that he's doing.
It is indeed first ball of the new over from Nortje. And Karunaratne plays this very nicely, just drops it, well, not even really drops guides it into the offside, I think is the word I'm looking for. And that runs away for 4. Sri Lanka to 119 for 4. And Karunaratne is going on to 78. Must be beginning to think slightly about triple figures here.
So Ravi Reddy says, no verbals from the SA attack. Have we become too PC? Donald and Stain would have been right up Karunaratne's grill by now.
Yeah, none of these guys are that sort of bowler at all. Notker, well, as he digs this one into the ribs, and it's handled very, very well by Dimuth Karunaratne. He just turns it around the corner and they jog through for a single. Notker is very much one of those bowlers who lets his bowling do the talking for him. I've sat in on a couple of his press conferences, and he's a quiet-spoken guy. He's not full of bluster at all. Lungi's got too good a smile for anyone to take him seriously if he tried to get up into your grill. Although if he did, I would absolutely pee myself, because he is. If he decided to make himself look intimidating, he really, really could. He's probably from a pure physique point of view, he's probably the scariest guy in world cricket. But that lovable face on the top of that mountain of muscle is, I'm afraid, not fooling anybody. Another really, really good length from Notker, but De Quella guides this down to that same area that Karunaratne has just scored a 4 in. So he goes to 5. I hope Heinrich doesn't get discouraged here, because it's not like he's being smashed through the offside. All of these are quite streaky 4s, and he needs to just carry on pinging away at that length, and he's gonna get in
That was just the line, and it squared him up, which is the right thing you want to do. If he bowls it slightly shorter, he'll get a little bit more joy.
Yeah, well, he does now, and Nerishan De Quella has a bit of a thought of trying to ramp him. Was far too slow on the shot, but interesting idea, and it is given as 1 for the over by Adrian Holstock. And then yeah,
Ravi tweeting, so are we wrapping this up on day 3 or day 4, fellas? Thoughts? I think tomorrow morning.
Yeah, I can't imagine this going into day 4. It would really require some massive batting by Sri Lanka. And the way that these two are bowling at the moment, I think there's going to be a collapse at some point. He works this quite nicely into the offside though now, and Lutus Apamna does the fielding on that cover boundary, and they just go through for the single. That was a typical nervous batsman way of facing a fast bowler. He didn't really use any feet at all, any footwork at all. Just flapped his bat at it and happened to get it in the middle, and so it ran away.
And then Tim the cricket guy saying Shane Warne's opinions that are not leg spin should not be on Gorilla SA or one more.
Tucked into the onside by Dimuth, and it is collected. Who's down there? I think that's Bjorn Mulder down there at square leg, and they jog through for a single. So they're taking a lot of runs off Notker here. That's sure. How many runs off
it's an easy angle for you to be able to take runs, because if he strays down leg, but he's got 3 leg side fielders, so it's easy for you to take singles, and that's why he's coming around the wicket, because he needs to bowl one side of the wicket essentially.
Yeah, you're quite right. So 12 runs off this over so far, with 1 ball to come, and they knocked this onto the onside. There's a shy at the stumps. I think he would have been home if he had got there, if it had hit the stumps. And who's this who's now had to collect it in the slip court? And it's Demba Babuma, who had to do the covering and seems to have hurt his own hands there as the throw came flying in from Maharaj, not feeling the man who was behind.
Looks like he's probably walking off.
Oh, flip, he is. I think he's really been hurt hard there. This is his right hand he's holding. Let's hope it just needs some magic spray. The fact he's able to make a fist, I think he's probably okay. He's just, in fact, he's even looking like he's changing his mind about whether or not he's going to come off. So
because it's a short turnaround time. If you get an injury now, you don't want to get an injury, because you might find yourself not going to Pakistan.
Yeah, if you break a bone now, you're not going to Pakistan. That's for sure.
If you pull something now as well, because I'm assuming you probably need 10 days in Pakistan, and the first test starts on the 26th. So possibly like a week and a bit to be ready.
Yeah, I think it would very much depend who it is. I think if one of the, if Faf or Quinny twinged a hamstring now, they would take them and back themselves to treat them back to fitness. But if someone one of the sort of second tier players, then I think that would be tickets for their trip. Nglungi Ngidi starts the new over just in the channel, and De Quella hanging his bat out, goes past the outside edge, and Quinny takes an easy.
He's not only getting the ball to go straight to the left hand, he's getting it to shape slightly away with a little bit of late swing there, which is dangerous for De Quella. And I'm assuming the next batsman to come, because I think they've got 5 left-handers.
Yeah, he is bowling around the wickets to the left-hander, which means that when he gets the line slightly wrong, like he did there, that was on sort of 6th or 7th stump line. And it's very, very easy just to leave it alone, particularly at a time of the game where you're probably looking to leave more than anything else. And although Heinrich Nokia went for 13 in his previous over, it was because he was forcing the batsman to play every single delivery.
I think we've gone through all five left-handers we have. This is the last 2 left-handers Sri Lanka have, and then you've got Shanaka, Hasaranga, and the rest who are all just right-handers. So South Africans have done more.
Full face to the bats and defenders to Vian Mulder, who's doing duty at Madoff, and no run. Yeah, it'll be nice to have some right-handers again, to see some normal cricket, as it were. I mean, certainly the rash of left-handers that they have has not been unwelcome from the South African pace trio. They all seem to quite relish bowling to these left-handers.
That is very true, Simon. Very, very true.
I still think that I prefer Nortje's angle of coming over the wickets and into the ribs of the guys rather than Lungi. I think Lungi has had a tendency to bowl slightly wide at times, but this time he gets his line a bit better and forces the defence off the back foot. And no run. Sri Lanka 128 for 4. Karunaratne on 80 off 101 balls, so he's going along at 5 runs and over, no worries at all. De Quella 7 off 12, similar to the strike rate. Lungi Ngidi 3 for 21. 8.4. So although I've been mildly critical of his line, nothing wrong with those figures whatsoever.
Got some tweets. Ravi Reddy saying, I would bring on Mulder and Maharaj for a few overs before we close. And he then asks, would you bring Mulder and Maharaj for, I think so, about 20 minutes?
To Pakistan. Oh, like on to bowl. Lungi Ngidi gets the edge here. It flies, I think, between 2nd and 3rd slip. It went very, very fast. Bavuma holding his head. I'm going to be interested to see exactly how close these guys got to it. But
no, he's not.
I don't know. They showed him, but I think they just showed him being frustrated. But it certainly Bavuma was on his backside, so it looks like he attempted to catch that. Who was it? De Quella really pushed hard at this, and it's
very wide. He didn't need to play at that.
Didn't indeed. And it actually went
in between 3 and 4.
High between 3 and Gully, or 3 and 4, depending on how close Gully's standing there. That would have been a perfect catch for AB Muller's 3 3/4 that he was talking about earlier. I don't think you were on air. Defended into the offside, and they just jogged through for a single. Yes, that was when me and Tim were on, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And De Quella manages to get, he doesn't get off the strike because now he's managed to set himself up to face Heinrich Nokia. Wouldn't be surprised if Nokia actually doesn't come off this over. I hope he doesn't, because he doesn't deserve to be punished for the over that was so expensive.
Yes, true, and he's caused a lot of problems for De Quella, and so I'd try that angle across him. Right on over for one more over to see if De Quella might, because you obviously want to entice the pull or get a thing. But we see Lungi Ngidi coming off the field. His shirt is drenched. I don't know why he's wearing a long sleeve shirt, but that's another story for itself. So he's coming off. Kagiso's on the field now.
It was a moment of excitement for until I remember that's not how it works. Geez, can you imagine if these guys had to face KG now? Half an hour of KG at the end of the day. So Heinrich Nokia has changed his angle. He's now also coming around the wicket, and that seemed ever so slightly away from De Quella, and goes through to
you know what could happen tomorrow? Obviously, Lungi is probably going to have a concussion test tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
Because obviously there's the protocol is the one on the field and there's one at the next morning.
Yeah.
If Lungi just wakes up and has a bit of a headache,
that would be gamesmanship of note if they brought KG in on a concussion. A straighter line, and this is edged along the ground through to a diving marker at Ali. And I'm liking this line from Nortje. Who do you think they're going to bring on? Is it going to be Sapamla or is it going to be
Mulder? It'll be Mulder. As we see him warm up, he's starting the call. It's so exciting when the captain says warm up, and you're like, yes, come on.
Yeah, it's my turn at last. Where's KG Rabada's hat? Has he just been one of these 12th menus? I've done this before. You're sitting in the hut without your hat on, and then you get called urgently to go onto the field, and you forget your hat.
That's what
he's done exactly that. So this is tucked into the onside. Maharaj comes around and does the fielding on exactly the same patch of grass where he took that excellent catch earlier. I recognize it because he got the advertising paint all over his arms when he took that catch. And that's on the same little patch there.
And that takes Nerishan Dikwela to 2,000 test runs. After 70 innings, he averages 30.77 and he's only had 15 50s and no hundreds and a best of 83. So he falls into the Temba Bavuma camp of being questioned for a spot, but I don't think if you told the Sri Lankan as to whether Dikwela should be out of the side because of his scores, they'd probably laugh at you.
Yeah, shorter ball defended into the onside, no run. Yeah, I mean, I think he's been perfectly fine. I think his work behind the stumps has been no problem at all. He hasn't been tested. He hasn't had to deal with a Muralitaran or anyone turning it square out of a dust bowl, which is usually, I imagine, the standard by which Sri Lankan wicketkeepers are judged. As Nortje turns again, and another one of his classic lines. He's actually bowling right arm over to Karunaratne while he was going right arm around to Dikwela. KG Rabada does the fielding down at a deep mid-wicket and very casually and relaxed throws it back into to Quinny de Kock.
Yeah, he needs a few, and I think, and I hope the South Africans can organize a practice match, a 3-day practice match for the in Pakistan, just to get the guys a little bit ready.
I'm assuming we're going to do the same thing that England and Sri Lanka have done here, outside the off stump, and Dikwela has a bit of a flap at it, sort of half trying to ramp it, but never really in the right space. And Quinton de Kock actually dropped that. I mean, it wasn't an edge, but he didn't take it cleanly at all. I'm assuming what they're going to do is exactly what we've seen from the Sri Lankans and the visiting English in the last 2 tours. Is they take a big squad and then they can play internal games against themselves. And I would suggest probably what you do is you take your squad of 21 or whatever, you play an 11 against a 9, and that side with the 9 you pack with 2 decent Sri Lankan spinners from their first class system, so that you've got a bit of Sri Lankan spin to play.
I think that'll be tough, obviously, with the bubble. So you don't want people entering into the bubble that you don't know.
Yes, of course you can't. Yeah.
So you take Shamsi, you'll have to take Shamsi, you'll have to take Linda, you'll have to probably even take another. I think this is going to be the tour where we take every single spinner we have. To go to Sri Lanka. So obviously Kesh, Subrayan probably might even make a cut, and see how that's going to work.
Right, here's Vian Mulder replacing Lungi Ngidi, and Sri Lanka now, well, firstly, this ball is played very confidently out to Maharaj, who is roving on the offside boundary, and they go through for a single. Karunaratne now on 82, and that brings the amount trailing to under 10 runs, 9 runs now. Sri Lanka 136 for 4. So they're really going to be hard pressed to give South Africa something worth batting against.
I think 150 could be tough for South Africa to check.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose if you look at the collapse that did result, Mulder also bowling that round the wicket line. This elicits a false stroke from Diquela, just past his outside edge, and no run, 136 for 4.
Yes, so got some tweets. Ravi says, what does the Gorilla SA team think about SA rugby teams moving to the Pro 14? More importantly, will you be covering those matches?
What? So the Pro 14, is that ridiculous French thing?
No, it's the Irish, Scotland, and Wales League.
Yeah, the one that that Eastern Cape team was in. What were they called again?
The Southern Kings.
The Southern Kings, yeah. That same thing.
And Free State, yes. Free State were playing there.
Yeah. Look, I'll be honest, that's a competition that I paid less than no attention to whatsoever.
Look, it's good. So there won't be any early morning games like you're playing in New Zealand. I'm just angry that they kicked the cheaters out, that they couldn't find a spot for the cheaters. Because now the Lions, the Sharks, the Bulls, and the Stormers are in.
So Bjorn Mulder managed to get the inside edge off Diquela's bat here. It squirts away down to fine leg where Heinrich Nokia does the fielding, and they jog through for a single. Diquela now to 14. Cut on a run, they're still there on 82, and Sri Lanka 137 for 4, 137. That's the number.
And Ravi,
of
the answer is if we get a sponsor for the Pro 14, if somebody wants to sponsor, it's called the Rainbow Cup when you're adding the South Africans. It's now called the Pro 14 Rainbow Cup because supposedly we're the Rainbow Nation. So, yeah. That'd be great.
Absolutely. I mean, if someone's willing to sponsor, we'll commentate on absolutely everything. And we've got a very, very good commentary team for rugby, which we underutilize at 1WSR. And not only do we have a decent commentary team, but it's completely bilingual. We're capable of doing full commentary in English and Afrikaans. So if folks would fancy having a bit of a flutter, and the way that it works is that we will happily enter into an agreement where you can cover our costs, and then we share an advertising platform. So, if we need to buy a couple of billboards or something like that to advertise your product and our broadcast together, I think that's a really, really good opportunity. This is left outside the off stump to end that over. Mulder finishes on 0 for 33 on 8 waving to say he's coming back on.
And he's got a new shirt.
He's got a short sleeve shirt on here. But confusingly also has arm warmers. I think more elbow protection.
For the sliding and the diving.
Yeah, not a bad idea. No, that's just something.
It hasn't been a great advert for New Balance because Lungi's shirts, like after a couple of overs of bowling, are always drenched.
Yeah, he's obviously a particularly sweaty chap, which means that I'm sure that they either keep the ball well away from him, or they use him to shine the one side, depending on what they're trying to achieve. Heinrich Nokia to start his 11th over. He's 1 for 40 at the moment, outside the off stump, left alone, no run. 148 k's an hour. He's bowling a full 15 k's an hour faster than more than that. He's bowling nearly 20 k's an hour faster than Bjorn Mulder. Completely different kettle of fish.
Yes, Ravi says, I just want to see where Nokia is. 2,000 runs for Diquela, quality batsman and wicketkeeper.
So when's this Pro 14 thing kicking in?
April. March,
okay,
April.
So Super Rugby is dead and defunct, eh? Played and missed by Diquela outside the off stump, no run.
Super Rugby is alive in that part of the world where there's no coronavirus. The rest of us sitting here have been kicked out, essentially. Also,
so is this a Corona decision, or is this a long
Corona enforced this decision? So it was going to happen in about 2022, but I think they brought it forward because the South Africans have always wanted to go play in the north, so this is the time to do it.
Not that I think Europe will want anything to do with traveling South African teams at the moment with the new variant of COVID that has come through. A fuller ball by Norke. He was searching for the Yorker there, I think. Played reasonably confidently into the offside by Diquela and no run.
Why is everyone acting like we're the ones who created this new variant? The only thing that it showed is that our scientists are actually very clever, that they picked it up. Everybody's had it.
I mean, I think you're quite right. I think we have an incredibly sophisticated health system, or research health system in South Africa, and they have picked up this new variant. But it does seem to be more infectious, and I know there's been reports coming out of the UK of concerns at the South African variant. As Notke comes in again and just forcing De Quella to play every ball here, which is exactly what we like to see, angling the ball into the left-hander as he comes right arm around the wicket. All of these up and around the 90-mile-per-hour mark.
The first time I heard about this variant was when England was supposed to play Denmark in the EuroLeague in soccer, and they had an issue with having the English team go to Denmark because when they came back, they'd have to quarantine because there's a different mutated form of COVID-19. I just thought that's the same one we are finding out now.
No, I think there's a separate one. I think there's a UK variant and there's a South African variant. And from what I understand, they're two completely separate things. A shorter ball just played into the offside by De Quella. They're going to come through for a single. It is Temba Bavuma who comes around and does the fielding. And they go through for 138 for 4. De Quella now on 15 of 26. He's weathered the bowling really, really well, actually. Had a couple of streaky shots, but generally done well. Karanaratne has been patient, has handled some really quite brutal fast bowling with great patience and with great skill and with great courage. And I think he totally deserves to add to his century total.
Yeah, it's a big 30 minutes for Sri Lanka. They need to survive these 30 minutes without losing a lot of wickets to give them something to a little bit more batsmen tomorrow to try and give them a target for South Africa to try and chase that they can bowl to.
And again, Notke just persisting with this, angling into the left-hander, forcing a bat on ball from every single ball. I think you're right. I think your analysis earlier that 150 runs could be a tricky prospect tomorrow morning.
Especially with the line. The thing about Asita Fernando's bowling, who I think was bowled well throughout this match, is that looks like his natural line and length. Similar to Wiaan Mulder's, that natural, just drivable length that gets batsmen in between. And I think if he can continue that, the South Africans could find themselves in a little bit of trouble. And we know how great Vishwa Fernando is. All his 4 best bowling figures are all against South Africa. His top 3, actually top. So his 5 is now the best, and then he took 3 forfeits in that Test series where Sri Lanka won and whitewashed us.
Wiaan Mulder to continue in that channel and going past the outside edge of De Quella and no run. Yeah, I mean he is a superb bowler against South Africa. And reminiscent of Chaminda Vaas in many ways. Similar sort of pace, similar sort of late swing at times, and there's just something about him. Maybe it's South African conditions actually that really excites him. But he does. He looks at his most dangerous when he's in South Africa playing against South Africa.
Yeah, and so he wants to take these pitches with him when England come.
Yeah, outside the off. No run. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how he does against England on his home pitches. I think he might be one of those players who has to be resigned to being an away specialist. But I'm going to watch his progress against England with great interest.
Yeah, and that's what Mickey Arthur said before this test, was that it was an opportunity for youngsters to come through and show what they've done, and they've found one in Fernando.
Yeah. Oh, this one jags back and well left by De Quella. I think he left it on length as much as anything else. It came back more than I think he was expecting. Could so easily have clipped one of his bails. I think it actually landed up going over by quite a distance. But a very, very good ball by Wiaan Mulder.
From Wiaan.
Oh, it actually hit his thigh pad. Okay, it did actually come all the way back onto him.
Yeah, and that's what Wiaan gets you. Wiaan has the ability to swing the ball into the left-hander and also get it to hold its line, and so it brings it makes the batsman think a little bit there as well.
Yeah, slower ball. Felt slower, but it was still at 130 k's an hour and just punched into the offside and no run. Just thinking about sport in times of COVID, is this not a time where countries need to be really focusing on internal leagues? So, allow the English Premier League, for example, to play as it has been doing. I think they've done a very, very good job of keeping it going, although it's beginning to fray now as we're seeing COVID cases disrupting. Played and missed outside the off stump. Oh, it's holding his head is Björn Mulder. But rather than trying to go through all of the rigmarole of a Pro 14, it just seems ridiculous.
But Simon, we've done that already. We've played the South African version of the Super Rugby. We've also played. We're about to finish the Currie Cup, which is rugby in January, which has a lot of rugby fans very excited. So that ends in 2 weeks. So there won't be any rugby. And we've also got the British and Irish Lions tour happening in July here. So that's also something that probably might not go ahead. But
you managed to get all your tickets for that, didn't you?
I did.
Oh.
I've got tickets to the game in Soweto and the game at Ellis Park. So yes, but it might not happen because we might not have. It's July. By that time, we wouldn't have the whole country vaccinated in time, or 67% of the country vaccinated. So I've already resigned to them giving me my money back. Some tweets. Ravi Reddy says, righto, so we have a tour to Pakistan and an inbound tour of Australia to SA perhaps. CSA should set up a deal with the Windies to tour in May. This is moving from bubble to bubble. I think you need to give the players a little bit of rest, as well as also try to figure out when the IPL is. I think this bubble, like with the English players not wanting to play in the BBL, and that's because they've been in bubbles for the past 6 months. And so a tour to the Windies in May would mean the South Africans would be in some sort of a bubble for close to 4 to 5 months.
Yeah, I mean, it is a problem. And I'm not sure who it's worse for, the youngsters who feel like they need to go out to socialize or the family men. Oh, in fact, I can tell you straight away, it's worse for the family men. But it was interesting that a couple of the English players, having been to South Africa, turned down their BBL contracts because they couldn't face going into another bubble. And these were youngsters.
And Australia's also quite open as well, but the players are also in a bubble. It's just that like Australia's bubble is very odd. Because like I see Indian players taking pictures in Melbourne in shopping malls, and I'm like, okay, is there a virus? Like, what's going on?
Yeah, Australia, because of the size of the country, I think are able to isolate parts of the country better than South Africa, for example, can. The ball that Sapamla is bowling, incidentally, and this first ball catches the inside edge of Demoth's bat, and they just jog through for a single. Karunaratne goes through to 83. Yeah, that was given as a run. So he goes through to 83. 139.
Pirate Bradshaw tweeted, the WHO's guidelines is that geographic naming of viruses isn't to be used, though media and politicians don't care. Officially, the South African variant is called 501Y.V2.
Yeah, but we're not going to say that. We're not even going to remember that.
I'm just going to remember the version 2, maybe YV2.
YV2. Oh, yeah, that sounds, like suspiciously like Y2K.
Yes.
Defended into the offside, no run. Yeah, I mean, I certainly disagree with calling the virus the China virus, but I think once you've got COVID-19, I think to then talk about the SA variant and the UK variant is not, at least for the time being. Once it gets spread across the continent or across the globe, then I think we don't need to carry on calling it the SA variant. I suspect what happens is as it gets wider, it then just goes back to being called COVID-19 again.
COVID-19 version 2.
Yeah, exactly. The return. Full of ball and defended into the offside and no run.
Yeah, so my friends so Ireland's got a large South African population, and some of my friends work there. And so they were in South Africa for December. And obviously at the start of December, the cases in South Africa weren't that large. So as obviously the second variant, the South African variant, version 2 came out, Ireland decided to take everyone back to level 5 lockdown and ban flights from South Africa. So now they banned their flights from South Africa. It was the 30th of December. And they said they'd only look at it on the 6th. So my friends are stuck here for like a week, and they have a small window to book their flights and get out of South Africa if Ireland decides to allow them back in.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have that much sympathy. I think you have to be absolutely insane to do any non-essential travel across borders at this time. It's so easy to get stuck in a foreign country. I know someone who had to travel back to where they were studying, and their flight went through Frankfurt, and they already were subjected to COVID tests that hadn't been or they hadn't been warned for when they got onto the flight. And then when they were in the air, Lufthansa announced that they were, or the Germans announced they were no longer taking any flights from South Africa. So they were literally the last flight to go from Joburg through Frankfurt and then on to their destination. So they and that was that was planning that was 6 months in the making. To get that flight. I think unless it's absolutely essential, things like traveling for Christmas or so on is probably I would go as far as to say irresponsible.
Yeah.
Tequila facing, leaving it well alone from Sapamla. He's not quite been the Sapamla of the second innings of the first test in this innings. He's been reasonably expensive, going for just under 5 runs and over, not looking particularly dangerous there. Everything was in that channel where the batsman could leave it well alone. And Sri Lanka at 139 for 4. We've got about 10 minutes remaining in today's play. And certainly I think we're going to see these two batsmen are very, very much of the mindset that they're just going to allow this game to end, this day to end.
Yeah. Yes, so let me just check some tweets on our end. Simon mentioned the above interesting point regarding Mulder as a captaincy choice. He struck me as a very confident and well-spoken young man. That's what Ravi said. Ravi read.
I think he is. Incidentally, he's just started bowling his 10th over here, and it was wide outside the off stump and left alone. He captained all the way through school, and I'm not sure if he captained his SA under-19 team. But he's clearly got leadership qualities. But I think he's probably not quite embedded enough to warrant it yet. He's not a Graham Smith type. This is an on drive all the way down the ground. Karunaratne is going to go through to 87 as that hits the boundary. Really confident shot from Dimuth Karunaratne, who is looking like $1 million at the moment.
Yeah, he's just picked that up very nicely. It was a half volley and easy for Karunaratne to play that one with the line. And yeah, if it started off and it kept on coming back in, and that made it a lot easier. Had it held its line, that shot probably would have gone, probably induced an edge. So just obviously Vian just needs to keep bowling in those areas and just getting the ball to hold its line. It's just the scrambled seam is not working for him right now.
Yeah, I think if Vian can build another two years into his Test match career, and stays injury free and continues with the sort of form that he's displayed in these last 2 matches, and someone like Temba Bavuma, for example, doesn't isn't able to take over that mantle, then I think Vian is probably a really, really good candidate for future Proteas captain. Or could have so easily have gone to hand. A shorter ball by Mulder. Karunaratne threw his bat at it. It took the top edge and flew over a leaping Faf du Plessis, and it goes away for 4. And the moral victory to Mulder, but the 4 runs accrue to Karunaratne, and he goes into the 90s.
And that means South Africa have to bat again.
Oh, it does indeed. It finally gets the not the lead. What do we call it?
Yeah, Sri Lankans are now.
Yeah, so they have a lead of just a little bit.
2.
There you go. So essentially 2 for 4 at the moment.
I hate it when people do that, but as an opposition, as a South African supporter, I normally do that as well to just keep this perspective that even though they're 147 for 4, they're 2 for 4. Yeah.
So 147 for 4. You're quite right. Lead by 2. Karanratne there on 91, DeQuella on 15. So unless he's able to send a couple to the boundary, it looks like he's going to be another one of those who's going to go to bed in the nervous 90s. Although he is scoring reasonably frequently at the moment. Can he score 9 runs in the next 9 minutes, 7 minutes?
Yes.
Yeah, maybe I would actually back him too. Bjorn Mulder in again. Oh, he's trying very, very hard not to be there tomorrow morning. He chops down on this one into the pitch, and it goes on the bounce to Quinton de Kock, and a no run. That's the end of Bjorn Mulder's 10th over, 0 for 41 of his.
And Ravi Reddy says on Twitter, congratulations, Sri Lanka are in the lead and sitting at 2 for 4.
There you go. So I'm not the only one. 147 is the correct way of thinking about it. A few extras today. 4 buys, that one set of 4 buys from Heinrich Nokia, 2 leg buys, 1 no ball and 1 wide. So not terrible actually. It's really only the no ball and the wide.
I think it's ensured in the first innings they had 37 extras.
Oh really? Geez, that's insane. And in fact, both those no balls and wides, I think, from the hand of Bjorn Mulder. I know he bowled the no ball, and I think very, very early on he bowled a horrible wide. Right, Lutus Apamla to continue, and DeQuella plays around this, and it goes through again on the bounce to Quinton de Kock, and no run. Didn't get an edge to it. It just died on Quinny.
It's that inconsistent bounce is now starting to creep in. A lot of balls that should be coming past waist height or even probably pad height for that one are dying out as they reach the batsman. So you just obviously hope that it doesn't happen with the ball pitching in front of your off stump.
Yeah, indeed. Someone's going to get an ankle high LBW at some point in this match. There's no doubt. So Pamela in again. Oh, and again it keeps low. This time he does get the inside edge, and Quinton de Kock makes a good diving stop to his right. And no run, 147 for 4. DeQuella really finding it, Sapamla a handful at the moment. Not really for anything that Sapamla's doing. There's just each time he's bowling on a good length, and the ball is just scooting along the surface.
Yeah, marks of an older ball and a wearing pitch, but it's only day 2 of this test match. It's acting like it's a day 3 pitch, so that's also very fascinating.
And only the 38th over, so it shouldn't be that older ball either.
But they are bowling cross him, so it could be the pace as well that's bamboozling DeQuella.
This time a more consistent bounce, defended off the back foot into the offside, no run. So, your prediction for tomorrow, do you think that with a bit of a break and some refreshing sleep that the South Africans will run through the Sri Lankans, or do you think these two might be able to build a bit of a partnership?
So these first 2 days, there was a bit of a pattern with the amount of wickets that have fallen. An hour before lunch, a clump of wickets fall. So I remember Vian took 3 and Anwar took 1, and the first day was 4. And then after lunch, South Africa rolled through Sri Lanka. Today, there was that collapse started before lunch and continued after lunch. So there is something for that morning session that might bring the South Africans back into this game. Well, they already are ahead of this game, but
yeah. Let me have a look when I'm commentating tomorrow, because that seems to be when the wickets go down. What's tomorrow? Day 3. Yeah, indeed, I am indeed commentating from 11 till 12 tomorrow. So. So Ravi Nair and myself and Otto should take all of the wickets tomorrow morning.
Yes, and maybe go into the 30 minutes extra as well. But yeah, there's something around about the morning sessions. It is obviously, I think batting gets easier as the sun bakes the pitch, but round about 11 up until 1, it looked like or 1:30 is the best time. Oh, it's up in the air.
Oh. So it actually looped over the head of Sapamla, who desperately tried to get the affect the caught and bowled. Karanratne was trying to turn it onto the leg side and caught the leading edge, and it just looped ever so softly. It would have been a perfect catch for the bowler's end umpire. Could have taken 3 steps to his right and pouched that perfectly easily. So he cramped Karanratne there, and it looped over him. He just wasn't going to get anywhere near it. In fact, it landed almost on the head of DeQuella, who was just backing up. That could have gone absolutely anywhere. And again, a moral victory, I think, for Sapamla. He's going to feel a little bit frustrated and aggrieved here that didn't go to hand. Here he comes in again, the last ball of his 8th over, 0 for 34 at the moment, his figures, and a perfect line, just forcing the defensive shot from Karunaratne. End of the over, Sri Lanka 148 for 4.
And yeah, Sri Lanka obviously got about 5 minutes to survive in this day, and then they'll come back tomorrow refreshed and hoping to get a 100-run partnership going, and maybe a couple of runs to push this lead of theirs to 150, close to 200, and see what could happen. They've got some handy batsmen in the hut waiting to come. That is obviously Hasaranga and Shanaka as well, who are both the all-rounders. Hasaranga's batted very well, and he scored. He's got 100 runs in the series. He's, I think, top 5 run scorer. So he is someone that Sri Lanka will be relying on heavily tomorrow to try and put pressure on the South Africans.
Yeah, I think they need another 50 from him, don't they? New bowler. It's going to be Van Mulder again. For a moment, I thought it was Aaron Nokia. And De Quella defends it into the offside and no run. And this will be the last over of the day, I think, is to quote Charles Fortune, as the shadows lengthen across the Wanderers. But we normally start Wanderers tests at 10:30, don't we? I've quite liked it being at 10 o'clock. It means that the light is not even a vague issue right the way through to the close of play. And
Yes.
5:30 is a perfectly civilized time to end cricket in Joburg. Played with soft hands through the hands of a diving third slip, and it will be Rassie van der Dussen from first slip who will run all the way down to third man to collect it. They go through 4-2, I think. Yes, they do. De Quella to 18, Sri Lanka to 150, and the lead to 5.
And it's also, I think, because the players have that long drive to Irene in the first day of work in 2021 traffic. So,
and because they're not trying to catch that after work crowd, normally Wanderers crowds swell a little bit from about 3 onwards. And guys, people who work in offices just up the road in Alovo, like you, Mpo, probably have.
I'm no longer I'm in Rosebank now, but that'll be fine.
You're in Rosebank. Close enough. You're still within just about walking distance of the Wanderers. From Rosebank, left alone outside the off stump, and a no run, 150 for 4.
But I don't think I'll be seeing that office anytime soon with the increased numbers of COVID. So that's going to be interesting. I think that Ramaphosa's address on the 15th is going to be wild.
Yeah, I think they're going to lock us down about as much as they possibly can. But I think they've realized that the complete lockdown that we did over Easter last year is just not viable for our economy at all. Björn Mulder strays down the leg side here. He does actually wrap the pad of De Quella, but
stifled appeals
going down there. Yeah, it was more one of those appeals where you almost appeal to try and stop the batsman running, I think. But Quinny was right there to collect the ball and a no run.
Yes. So I think Sri Lanka will be very happy at the end of the day with what they've achieved at 150 for 4, and also bowling South Africa out for those final 6. For I think there was a point it was 6 for 44, which is something that they'll take and be happy with.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think. They'll be pleased enough with the way that they've gone in the last hour or so, and this has, although De Quella has looked quite shaky at times, Karunaratne, apart from that one that looped back over Sapamla's head, I think has been mostly pretty safe, and he deserves a century from this innings. I think he's batted very, very well.
Yes, and I think South Africans are just waiting for the clock to tick over to 5:30 so they can bowl the final ball.
Exactly what they're doing. A little bit like we had a fresh pair of gloves come out at 17:28 yesterday. Final ball probably of the day outside the off stump. Björn Mulder realizing that he really didn't make the batsman play at all there. But Erasmus takes the stumps off. That is the end of the second day's play. Sri Lanka are on 150 for 4. They lead by 5 runs. The 2 batsmen in Nirashan de Quella on 18, and Dimuth Karunaratne, the captain, has played a very solid innings for 91. We will be back tomorrow morning at 10 in the morning. Thank you very, very much for joining us. Please do tell your friends about our broadcast, and follow us on Twitter, Gorilla SA, GUERILLA SA, and follow our YouTube channel as well. Is that just called 1WSR, our YouTube channel?
Yes, One World Sports Radio.
One World Sports Radio is our YouTube channel. So follow us there, and like us on Facebook at One World Sports Radio and at Gorilla Cricket. Thank you so much, Paul, and to all our other commentators for your service over the last 6 hours or so. I won't see you tomorrow because you've got to go and be an adult.
Yes, grown-up life starts tomorrow again. Exactly.
Okay, well, enjoy that.
If the test match carries on, probably in the afternoon, I might just jump on. But outside of that,
okay, well, if we see you, we see you. But thank you very much, mate, and good luck tomorrow. Stay well.
Cheers.
Cheers.